Welcome to the Overlode 2022 Game of the Year Deliberation podcast. I'm your host for these proceedings, Jordan Midler, joined as always by Harry Mitchell.
Hello.
And Danielle Partis.
Hello.
It's been another incredible year for games, so we're going to mark it by talking over the best games of the year, which we liked, what we didn't, and what surprised and disappointed us. The way this is going to work, if you've been a fan since last year, you know, but we have a list of 46 games that we've submitted to the group, so we could all have a play, have a feel, and be up for the debate. We're going to go around this table taking off games from that list until we are left with 10 games. Then we'll take a break, which for us will be an hour or so, but for you it'll only be a second or two. We will return to number that list from 10 to 1, crowning our second game of the year. It is worth mentioning that while this might get heated, we're going to be taking it very seriously, but not personally. So when we start shouting at each other, that is shouting at the opinions and not the people. We shall shake hands before, shake hands after, and without further ado, let's begin Overlode's Game of the Year podcast for 2022.
Yeah! We're fucking back, boys!
We're back.
I will begin by reading this list of contenders, so make a drink because we'll be here for a while. If there's something missing, it's because none of the three of us have played it. Remasters don't count. New ports of old games don't count because then it would just be The Last of Us Part 1 and we could go up the road.
Mid.
This list is Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Sifu, Ollie Ollie World, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Rainbow Six Extraction, Dying Light 2, WWE 2K22, Tunic, Ghostwire Tokyo, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Weird West, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Rogue Legacy 2, Switch Sports, Loot River, Citizen Sleeper, Mario Strikers, The Quarry, Neon White, As Dusk Falls, Stray, 2 Point Campus, Cult of the Lamb, Rumbleverse, Multiversus, Roller Dome, Cursed to Golf, Saints Row, Nobody Saved the World, Blood Hunt, Power Wash Simulator, Vampire Survivors, Norco, Metal Hellsinger, Gotham Knights, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, God of War Ragnarok, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Modern Warfare 2, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Need for Speed Unbound, Case of the Golden Idol, Warzone 2, Sonic Frontiers, Marvel Snap, FIFA 23, NBA 2K23, and the Game of the Year Gran Turismo 7.
That's it, boys. That's the list. That's the list. That's the full 10.
Yeah, that was an order, by the way.
I'm sorry. Can I clarify something? Did Rainbow Six Extraction really come out this year?
Certainly did, brother.
It's been a long year.
It was my
I've been
first review
saying
of the
that
year.
as a joke for remember when that came out in January last year?
Yes.
Yeah, son.
It's been a long old year.
What the fuck?
However, we will go age before beauty once again. So Harold Mitchell, feel free. Your first pick.
Oh boy. Okay. See, there's a lot of emotions that go through what you want from your first pick. We can go for a reliable one that we kind of maybe all want off. There's one that we all didn't really play, and we can go for something a little more spicy. I fucking get Tiny Tina's Wonderlands off here, man. I couldn't give a fuck.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, obviously the spin-off from the Borderlands franchise, based on the DLC from Borderlands 2, where Tiny Tina is like a DM for a Dungeons & Dragons game. You saddos should be all over this, because you just play...
D&D, fucking grow up, mate. Play
physical
some real
D&D.
games.
Exactly. I mean, I agree. Yeah, I was excited before this came out, because I thought, okay, they're going to do something that isn't like a Borderlands game, and then you get in and you've got fucking SMGs and shit. You've got like fantasy SMGs. So yeah, it was disappointing. I still played fucking tons of it because there's something about the Borderlands formula that's just it's got the brain worms. It shoots out loot and XP in such a way that just works with me. But yes, I have absolutely no objections. Highlighting Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and for the first time this year, deleting.
Well,
That was a weird one for me because I am a massive Borderlands fan. I was a massive Borderlands fan and also a massive D&D fan. So the intersection of both was like, I was real excited for it. And then like the Borderlands thing for me is just past years ago. And I'm just not the person that fucking got well into Borderlands. And like you said,
Borderlands
with the whole...
2, mate. Borderlands 2. Me and you, Danny, we know this. Borderlands 2 is where it's fucking at.
Yeah, exactly. But like the whole... mindless numbers pinging off, like you said. I've got Destiny for that
I was
now.
about to say, you have your Borderlands now, you have your muck.
So let's see it gone. Sorry, Borderlands.
Yeah, you didn't even ask if Danny wants it gone. It could have been Danny's Game of the Year, Jordan, and you just got it off the list.
Yeah, look, there's 46 games here at some point. We've got to be
They all deserve their chance in the spotlight.
We have to pick our fights here, Harry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, it is me next. I'm going to take off a huge disappointment, which was Switch Sports. Wii Sports, one of, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. It is game par excellence. Like, it is so perfect. Wii Sports Resort, also really good if you're into your bocce and all these other weird
Love Wii Sports Resort.
these other sports. Switch Sports should have been a no-brainer, and it also should have been out in 2017. Like, they have motion control, they have the stuff you would need to do. The football game in Switch Sports, when you have the fucking leg strap and all this pish, is quite good. But yeah, considering the success of the Switch and how big a Switch Sports could be, like, it's crazy that it's kind of gone with a fart.
Put it out like 5 years into the console cycle as well is madness, because that's like the thing that people wanted on the Wii, and it felt like an afterthought. It was like, oh, hi, like that sports thing we did was mega popular, let's put it out. But like, it was far too late, and I don't think it iterated enough on the formula to like make it cool for Switch again. It was just Wii Sports.
Also seemed like from the short things I said of it, it like didn't seem to play very well. Like a lot of like the classics weren't very like fun, or seemed almost kind of buggy in certain aspects, and like didn't have the simplicity of Wii Sports, which, you know, you can't really do that simplicity again. You have to try to bulk it up. But then again, Wii Sports Result bulked up, and it was great.
Yeah. I think also a difference is when you're doing the motion control with the tiny Joy-Cons, it doesn't feel as good as with a bit like the bigger Wiimote or the Wiimote Plus, which is this big fucking massive thing. So yeah, it was a real shame. I imagine this came out like 2020, like just as the Pandy was kicking off. Like, I think this could have been massive. But yeah, Switch Sports will be my first highlight, and delete. Danny.
All right, those were two shires. Let's get something a little bit spicy.
God of War Ragnarok.
Off the list. Let's do Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Let's get into it.
Yes! Fucking yes! Danny, I swear to God, one of my fucking tweets was about to go, and I was like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
Well, this isn't
But she
striking it off
turned
the list yet.
around.
This is just bringing it onto the table.
I was about to say this would have to be a fucking Harvard law tier argument to get this off at this stage.
Let's just talk about it. I'm not saying anything.
I'll talk about it.
Let's just go. Right.
Go ahead. No, you just go ahead.
So, Lego Star Wars, I did not play all of it. I played like 2 of the episodes, I think. I played like one of the New Hope, and then I went back to prequel ones to fill the prequel ones. I played like a lot of both of those. And I ended up putting it down because a lot of things I like, and first of all, I'm a big Lego Star Wars fan. As someone who's not a big Star Wars fan, a lot of the cultural osmosis that I got from Star Wars was through Lego Star Wars. That's what I think growing up, I was like, yeah, I know Star Wars. I love those movies. And I realized, no,
like
I just like Lego Star Wars.
It's that and Family Guy. Like, that's your entire basis of reference.
I think it probably, that's true. I think I have seen that movie. So like, but yeah, I'm a big fan of those, and I didn't quite like the third-person aspect they want. I really like in Lego Star Wars how is this top-down thing that you could explore and jump around, and it was like, and I enjoyed that side of it. I think it is a lot more going very linearly, just straight through the episodes, and less about like it being kind of more gameplay based, I guess. It didn't really click well with me, but it was all perfectly fun. Like, I liked all those things because I was having fun. It was like, there were funny gags going on. It was similar kind of wee Easter eggs that I enjoyed about the originals. But then I quickly realized it became just more about a huge scope of a game of just exploring and finding all the things. And as someone that likes exploring but gives no fucks about finding, like, the 58 collectibles of this, the 45 collectibles of this, the 50 bling blongs from the Jastar Galaxy, if you go down this fucking wee bridge and talk to this guy. I just find that really fucking... I get why it gets people brain pings, but I think, like, when I realized that was, like, the pull was big Star Wars fans enveloping themselves in this huge, like, detailed, quirky version of the world, I kind of bounced off it, and I think when I tried to enjoy the story side, it was a little bit too fixed. The kind of gag stuff wasn't really as funny as I would have liked it to be, and as enjoyable as I liked it to be. And the gameplay just felt a little bit kind of on a rail, and that made me not enjoy it very much.
Danny, you played a bit co-op, didn't you? You were saying.
I played a bit co-op, and I played a little bit later in the year on my own because I found the co-op really frustrating, because I think Lego is one of those games that you want a nice co-op experience with. It's a family game. It's a nice multiplayer game, and the like split screen kind of limitation on like you're put into this massive world in a third person capacity that you're encouraged to explore, but then you can't fucking see anything in this split screen environment, which was incredibly frustrating. But I had the same kind of issue as Harry in that I wanted to explore the levels and I wanted to go through and like see everything that was going on and take my time wandering through and not just like speed run through the story aspects. But like 80% of everything that you encounter is like, come back later when you found this, or you've unlocked this character and you've got to do a specific jump or like have a specific skill to like get onto a roof and open a box. And it's like, I'm not coming back for that. I can't be fucked with that. So I got through, like, I played the prequels and I played a little bit of episode 5, because obviously that's the best movie. And
Facts.
I was just like it's great, and I love Star Wars and I love the Lego games, but it all just fell a bit short for me. And I think I fucked myself because I was really, really excited for it, and it was like a perfect kind of, I think it's a Christmas Void game. It's a fucking sit down with Star Wars and just absolutely mince through this fucking brain off game. But when it came out at the time, I was like, oh god, I can't wait to play this. And then I couldn't play so much of it. And it's a very like play through it and then come back and play through it again kind of beat. And I was like, I didn't have time for that.
So I do agree in the sense that I think it would have been smarter for them to basically make you play enough of the story to have enough characters to do the open world shit before it even let you, because it is kind of overwhelming to see. There's like fucking 40 planets, like every planet that has been represented in Star Wars is in that game, which is crazy. Like the amount of shit that is in that game is ridiculous. But yeah, I really thought it was brilliant. Like the decision to not duplicate any of the gameplay from the original games in the same way, like they're covering parts of the film that were never covered in the first one, and obviously some stuff has to be like, you can't not have the Darth Maul fight at the end of fucking Phantom Menace and stuff. I do think that the move to third person was the right thing to do, but it does break the co-op in the traditional Lego sense with like the split and stuff like that. But yeah, I just thought I thought the things that you were doing in terms of like, I thought the shooting felt much better, the combat felt much better, the exploration stuff in terms of like landing in Coruscant and landing in these prequel planets and going and doing all the fucking side missions and stuff, that's something that really works for me in a Lego sense. Like I platinumed the Lego Harry Potter games and then platinumed them again when they came out as a collection. Like I'm all about that fucking like hoovering up pish kind of stuff. And I also, like, I disagree with you on the humor, Harry. Like, I thought this was really fucking funny. Like, the first when I previewed it, and the first gag they showed was the bit at the start of A New Hope when two different droids walk forward and they get hit with a bin, and then R2D2 and C3PO walk forward. I was like, that's how you can tell this game was made in the UK, because that's such a fucking British joke. It's like, fuck, they get hit by a bin, and then they walk forward. Like, this is a game that I'm not sure. I don't have high hopes of this making top 10, but I don't think it dies this early, because I think it might be one that I come back to and think, you know what, actually, in a year that, and a game that I fucking gave 5 stars because I enjoyed it that much, so I would argue it's not time to kill yet.
I'd agree with that. It's one of those games where when I played it at the time, I was like, oh, this isn't hitting the way I want it to hit, but it's not one that I'd never go back to. It's definitely you boot it up and you give it another go just to see if things feel different.
See it being on Game Pass, that's like imagine like when you were buying games and like you didn't have a lot of money and stuff like that, and you got this game that just, or if you're like a kid or something, you got this game that has like 900 fucking kyber crystals to go after that are all associated with quests and shit like that. Like it's a pure I said it in the review, but it feels like it is. They know it's the last Lego Star Wars game they're ever going to get to make, so they're like, fuck it. Every idea we've ever had has to go in this. Like,
yeah.
It is like on like Elden Ring levels of like very impressive scope. Like also like one thing we mentioned is that game looks really, really good. Like,
it looks brilliant.
It looks, it's just a Marvel to sort of walk around. So yeah, fair enough. We can keep it around, but
not quite yet.
Got my eye on
might
it.
not make it to the last dance. Harry.
Next up. There's so many shows we've got to get rid of. I want to go spicy, but I feel like we've got some muck to pull out. Let's go with Need for Speed Unbound. Fuck me, man.
Need for Speed. Oh, poor me. Need for Speed Unbound.
Fucking Need for Speed Unbound. I played that game and it was fucking. No, it wasn't very good.
The driving's alright. Like everything
it's
around
fine.
it is so cringy, but the driving's alright.
I wanted to really love this game. I was so into it because it was like, what if you just did the fucking Spider-Verse thing, but it's a cool racing game in a franchise I really like. Like I like a lot of the Need Speed games. Like I didn't like Heat. I think it just made it a bit kind of generic. But like I love fucking like Underground, Most Wanted, like all these sorts of games. And it was alright. The driving's fine, but. Fuck me, man. Listen to those fucking cunts talk in that car. Made me want to throw my PS5 out the window. Now, listen, there's a lot of games this year with like some cringy dialogue that we still like the game. But I don't think I like the game enough to warrant like how much this game, the Saints Rowification of this game. Like,
it's like... It's unbelievable, especially because you face the same characters over and over again, especially in the first kind of chapter, and you're like, please shut up. Like, when I got a car that was quite, I don't know how far you get, but how far you got, but it resets you, like it takes that fast car off of you, and you have to kind of build yourself back up again.
I think I like about the game.
Yeah, and I was like, and people have pointed this out elsewhere, but it's cool that it's fucking hard to win every race. Like there are some races that you just come second and you still get a reward for it. You're like, okay, that's enough cash for tonight. And I think that a lot of the police chases are like quite tense. Like it got to the point when I had like 5-star wanted level, my car was fucked, and it's like if I get hit again, I am dead and I've lost all my progress for tonight. But yeah, man, the fucking.
But that's how important tone is in games, because if you fuck up the tone, then all those moments where you're like where you're trying to bash into police and get away, which I think I like about Need for Speed is the cop stuff. Actually, I think it's the thing I like the most about it. Yeah, are ruined by like this chirpy conversation about like between these two people where it's like, God damn. But I do agree. I like that like it's not like here's 800 cars that you're cycling between. It's like here's one car. And you need to make $5,000 at this race to try and get to the next one, or to try and like upgrade your one car, your kind of baby, which like feels cool. It feels like you're a real street racer in that aspect.
That is very. It's compare it to fucking Forza Horizon, where you after a few races you have access to basically every car apart from ones that cost 100 million. Like what I do in every Forza Horizon game, I play enough of it to where I can get a Lamborghini. I get a purple Lamborghini like Bam Margera, and then I never change my car for the rest of the game. Like that's literally it. But this kind of forcing you to be like, yeah, it's a bit of a fucking banger, but I can upgrade it a wee bit, and that gets me more cash for the next race. Like there are the bones to this will make a really good Need for Speed game. This is just not. I'm glad it's back. It's way better than Heat, but yeah,
it has something going for it. It's trying something.
Yeah,
the driving didn't impress me enough to warrant like how much I was kind of often taken out of it. And
come on, Danny, save it, get it on the top 10, Danny. Come on.
I can't do it. I didn't touch it. It's gone, racing away into the fucking sunset.
It's gone off the tracks. It's fucking.
I tweeted about it, but I don't know if you guys saw, but fuck me, there's a moment where they were like talking about something, and she was like, "Yeah, I learned about that, you know, growing up in the foster system," and I was like, fucking what? What do you mean? Where did that come from? Does she have to be in the foster system? Like whatever.
That's where all the races are made. That's where they're born.
Yeah. Okay, it's been deleted. It's JJM's turn. Let's go for Sifu Getting off the list.
Get it fucking karate chopped off the list.
This should have been
It should have been. There are multiple podcasts where we're like, that game's gonna be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Me, Jordan, and Danny are all like, let's fucking go. Look at this trailer, man. You get older and more powerful, and then you get to reset. It sounds. We saw the trailer. Everyone's fucking bouncing off services.
This is 2022's Battlefield 2042. This is the game that it could not fail. The trailers were perfect. It could not fail. And then you play it and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's just shite. Like, the concept is still brilliant. I think it looks really cool. The levels you're going through and all the kind of like, you go into a room and there'll be like shit to pick up, all that stuff. It's crying out for better fucking combat. Like, I was so disappointed by it. Like, I think I got to like the second or third level or something like that. Then I just stopped. It's like, this should have been immaculate. It's such a good concept, but the cheap deaths and shit like that, it doesn't feel like you just, like, a perfect roguelike should make you feel like you just died and you're like, fuck this, I'm fucking going again right now because I've got the momentum. You never have any momentum in that game.
Yeah, I think there's like, there's actually certain things you never really say about these sort of games. Often the criticism is like, listen, it works fine. This part works fine. It's just how it's kind of designed, and like, I genuinely believe like the way the combat is about how you block and how you defend and how you roll is genuinely just not very clean. Like it feels just that little bit janky where you're not really sure, you're not comfortable with it. You don't feel like you're in the mode, which for a game about like Kung Fu, we meant to feel very in the flow and feel like you're kind of like moving your targets against you. It just never really clicks like that, and maybe there's like a certain click moment that I missed, but I didn't feel it very much.
Yeah, I think after each time you wanna come back and you wanna feel like you're at ease with the combat and you're running into these situations repeatedly and you know what to do. But I found that like each time I came back and I'm like, right, I know what to do here. I know what the enemies are chucking at me, and I do exactly the same kind of routine button press, and shit just landed differently each time. And I was like, is this me or is this like a game issue? And it just didn't feel kind of right. And like you said, I wasn't motivated to go back in after learning new things. It was like I hit a wall where I was like, I don't really want to progress, because if it gets harder than this, which is what it intends to do, then it's just going to get frustrating. And yeah, like I loved the style of it and I loved what it was doing, but it just didn't feel nice to play. And I think
Overlode's most disappointing game of the year. Like,
also it has to be said, like all of like how it represents the kind of the kind of culture and kung fu thing is like very clumsily done. It doesn't feel like nice. It just feels very cartoony.
It's like super inauthentic. Like it's Sifu. I'm on the seafood diet. I seafood and I delete it.
Fucking hell,
Danny.
Right. Let's talk about WWE. Why is this on here? What's going on? What's going on, Jordan?
It's fucking brilliant, mate. What are you talking about? They finally made a good wrestling game after 40 years. This is here because it was like, and I talked to Chris Scullion, who reviewed this. This game earned a lot of its stars because the last one was so diabolically bad. This is like a competent wrestling game that has a good roster. Like, the combat feels good. It looks alright. Like, it's like the best wrestling game recently, and one that I still played until this, was like WWE 2K18 or something, because it just had a great roster, a really good creation suite, which is key to those games, because you want like the pure psychos that are amazing at that shit to go in and create the entire AEW roster, all the arenas and stuff. And that is being still a fundamental part of these games, even after the 2K acquisition, is a big thing, because you could have seen a world where 2K were like, we are not going to let people just add infinite custom content to this game, because what does happen will happen, where you'll load up the recently uploaded creator images and it'll just be fucking tits and fanny and all this porn, but it's like that stuff gets deleted after a few minutes or whatever. But on the other, when you go to most downloaded, there's a Kenny Omega that looks like it was made by 2K. It's so good. Like, the creators in that community are amazing. It's a really solid wrestling game. They've finally put an ultimate team into it, and it's so shite that even I don't want to play it. Like, it's a shame, because they're doing stuff like, so classic Shawn Michaels wasn't in the game when it came out. Like there was a certain skin that you could only get through the Ultimate Team or whatever they call it, My Faction or whatever. But the community got so pissed at that people on PC, which shares a community creation with the consoles, are just, every time they add a skin to that isn't in the normal mode, they rip it out and put it on community creations. So even the incentive to play My Faction is kind of gone. So yeah, this can go. I'm really curious to see that AEW game next year because it's
CM Punk's AEW.
CM Punk's AEW. So yeah.
All right. I believe you, and 2K18 was a great game. That was the last one I played as well, and I just kind of fell off. So when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, is that good, or is it just in here because of you?" But I've no good fight.
If you've got fuck all to do, get it off Dome and just fanny about with it because it's fun. You'll get a night's fun out of it, then delete it and never think about it again. But
sorry, I just spotted a game I completely forgot existed. Fucking shocked to my bones.
Right, Harold.
Right.
The curse is over it. Dying Light 2, baby. I forgot about it. What a fucking game, man. Oh, man. Dying Light 2. Let's get into that game. Dying Light 1, never played it. Looked like kind of cool. Like I like parkour, I like this other stuff, but like the clicky zombies or whatever. I played Dying Light 2. There's some things I like about Dying Light 2. I think the setting of it is very cool. It's like kind of it's not quite a big city. It's like an overgrown kind of town, basically.
Yeah. There's like a few different areas you go to. Like it's not like later in the game you'll go to like a slightly bigger part of that open world. So it's
that's what we open with, but you're immediately met with one of the worst fucking written games that happens this year. It is tragic, the fucking writing of this game. And I like there's that I have an issue with, which I think I want to get into as a whole thing. And secondly, I think the combat isn't great. You're just sort of getting different sticks to hit the zombies with, and that's sort of it. You have like one of them might give them zappies, and that's about it. And
the fucking parkour in Dying Light 2, sick. I think the parkour is brilliant. It's like the best parkour controls since Mirror's Edge. But in the city, like it should be, all the rooftops are like, oh, there's a wee parkour line that you can go here, here, and here. Anytime there's fucking zombies about, you're like, fuck off, man. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, this is so. And yes, the story's rank rotten. The fucking wasted what's her face. Fucking Ahsoka. What's the actress that plays Ahsoka's name? Starts with an R. She's in Clerks 2 as well.
Riley
Reid. Ahsoka actress is Rose. It's Rosario Dawson. They waste Rosario Dawson. Rose Tyler.
Wait, Rosario Dawson's in this fucking movie? I mean, game?
Rosario Dawson's in this podcast?
I hope it's not a movie. Fucking hell.
I know. If it was a movie, I would have stuck 2 pencils up my nose and headbutted the desk. Like, it's a very disappointing game because I really liked Dying Light 1. I thought Dying Light 1 was such a surprise. It took all the stuff that the original Dead Island should have been and made the zombies like when you went out at night in Dying Light 1, genuinely scary. Dying Light 2, there's no fear whatsoever.
The one thing I do like about Dying Light 2 about the zombies thing is I quite like the big fucking raids when you have to like run and sprint against like 8,000 zombies. Like it doesn't really mean anything. There's not a lot because it's quite easy to get away from them. But in the moment when like there's like fucking genuine like 70 zombies that are chasing you, and then they start crawling out of the vents in the building that you're on and start jumping out of doors and stuff, like it's like a fun theme park ride that you're trying to go across, things like that. So that stuff is very nice.
And also like I need to harp on about the combat because it's so bad. Like they teach you all this stuff about how you're meant to like hit one zombie, fucking jump off him, land on the other one, but it never works properly. You either land behind them or just land to their side, and you're like, hello, and just fucking smash them. Like, there's no elegance to it, there's no flow. In a game that is all about flow when you're parkouring, the combat side of it's rank.
And you know, like walking around and talking to all the characters just is kind of painful, and it was a bad experience.
Yeah. Danny, did you have any interest in this at all?
Absolutely not. Didn't play the first one. Saw this and saw like cringe writing and zombies, and overpopulated UI and was like, yeah, that's not for me.
Me and Jordan played a lot of shiters this year.
Mate, it's my job. I play everything, and I need to know. The people have to know. I've said this a million times, but in one of Mark Kermode's book, he was like, it's very easy to be a critic if you just watch all the good shit. A good critic has to watch everything so they know, and I took that to heart. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Dying Light 2, highlight, delete. It's back to me. Oh, while I'm on my fucking sports bent, NBA 2K23, as I said in my review on VGC, and this will be brief, if this didn't have all the... I'm doing a fucking Obama with my fucking hands at this point for the audio listeners.
Wait, that's
if
Italian,
this didn't have the microtransactions pish, this would be the best basketball game ever made, because the gameplay is immaculate. The amount of modes they have is insane. They have a mode where you can fucking go and play seasons from like the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s with every single player that was active at that time. They've like perfectly recreated all of those rosters, which is something that if they had it on FIFA, I would be out of a job, because I would just play FIFA for my entire life if I could fucking play it as like Ronaldinho's Barcelona. So all that shit, amazing. But my career continues to be a crime against humanity. Like, I want to play basketball. I don't want to be a fucking rapper or a fucking fashion model or whatever. Like, it's terrible. I've spoken to people that work on these games that are equally as frustrated, because they're like, we see amazing reviews waiting to happen, but all this shit that 2K insists on having is dreadful. It's one of the best worst games of the year. Gameplay's a 10, fucking microtransactions are a -50. So highlight, delete, bye.
Kind of excited for what Danny has to choose next. I've got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
We need to have this conversation at some point, and it's going to be a biggie. So I'm going to split it up into two kind of chunks.
I'm sweating. I'm terrified of what's about to come out of Daniel Partis' mouth right now.
There can only realistically be one of these on the top 10.
Oh, so Harry, mate, you're fucked.
No, I think I know what you're talking about.
So let's talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Not a fucking chance. There is no way that comes off now. That is like not only is it the second best Pokemon game ever made, like it is easily one of the best games of the year. I'm so confident.
What's the best Pokemon game made? I thought you said Arceus.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the best. The remakes of Gold and Silver on the DS are the best. Arceus is the dream. It's the fucking 20 years ago. Oh, imagine they put a Pokemon game on when you were a fucking stupid cunt and didn't know what anything meant. You're like, what if they put one on the PS2 and you can play it properly? Like, and just because it still looks like a PS2 game shouldn't mean that it gets taken off this hallowed list, right?
Well, how about we just divert it to Scarlet and Violet if that's the weaker one? If you think that's the weaker link of the two.
Yes, Arceus is way better than Scarlet and Violet, but Danny's had an emotional imprint on Scarlet and Violet. And I also think there's way more shite that goes before Scarlet and Violet goes. Like, Scarlet and Violet might be a flawed game, but it's fucking good, man. Like, it's so addictive. Like,
I think you can also convince me of Arceus more than you can convince of Scarlet and Violet, because Scarlet and Violet does, to my knowledge, the Pokemon thing.
Oh, I've got billions of money in Scarlet and Violet lobbying to come. There is lobbyists at the gate, but yeah, I think we will have a really long discussion about Arceus at some point where I'll lay out the kind of the Pokemon Legends arguments for it. But
so Dan, are you team Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, absolutely. I bounced completely off Arceus unexpectedly, because I was really excited for it, and I loved the concepts that it was pitched, the whole sort of first ever Pokemon thing, building the Pokedex thing, but I just found it so kind of convoluted in what you were doing at all times. Like, there was this main quest and it was kind of cool, but then it was like there was just so much going on elsewhere at once, and
so much to do.
Yeah.
Finally a Pokemon game that gives you a lot of things to do.
That was like that was like a bad thing for me, because there was stuff that you couldn't do, stuff that you'd have to come back to, and the way that quests were managed and the logs and the UI was fucking confusing, and there was one quest that really stuck out to me was that like getting a Weasel that was over like 2'4" or something, but you had to battle and catch every single one and then check its stats afterwards to see how fucking tall it is. And I had to do that like 50 fucking times.
That's factually inaccurate. Pokemon Legends Arceus is the first game that actually reflected the size of Pokemon in the models in the wild. So if you saw a big fat Weasel bitch, you could go and get that Pokemon and know it was the correct one for the quest.
But it wasn't though. It wasn't, because there were so many, and like there was like an inch in it, and it's like you can't physically see an inch on your Switch screen of how big a fucking Pokemon is. And it was like I was catching.
Jordan's got the fucking magnifying glasses out, fucking zooming in.
I was so fucking daft.
Danny, we can work together here. We can form a fucking Pokemon. We can be Jesse and James.
Putting them against each other. Yes.
We can be Team Rocket. We can get these games up the just. Look, there's no way either of them is coming off.
I think it's fair that we just say they both come off because we can't agree. So
I hear what you're saying about Arceus, and like I can see why you liked it. I just fully bounced off it. And Scarlet and Violet is a whole different conversation because I think it's more similar to the Pokemon formula, but I think it does a way better job of just plonking you in a world and being like, go be a Pokemon master, do what you want. And you can just go anywhere and do whatever you want. And I think that was a way better thing than being like, oh, you need to go and catch this specific type of fucking random Pokemon in like a mountain somewhere, then come back. And it's like,
yeah, because you're a fucking you're creating the first Pokedex. Like that is the fact. As someone that fucking thinks the battling in Pokemon has always been the most boring part, Arceus just being like, go and find these exciting Pokemon is what fucking makes it for me. So,
but like, you need to have that. You need like a strong narrative to be creating. While there
is a strong narrative. You're fucking creating the first Pokedex in this land, in this land that is like all about the creation of the Sinnoh region from Diamond and Pearl. So the entire thing is like honestly, this is such a second half conversation. It's not worth it now because it's not fucking coming off right now. There is no chance.
We'll leave it. But
they both look ugly though, don't they? Which one looks uglier? Scarlet and Violet looks fucking
Scarlet
awful,
and Violet
mate.
looks way worse.
Looks fucking rank, that game. Fuck me.
Sonic
Frontiers does laps around that fucking ugly ass game.
Okay. Harry?
Oh. I mean, I did say it. No, let's not go there yet. I want to try and get something. Maybe that was a little bit too spicy. Maybe we need to calm down a bit.
Oh yeah, going after my third favourite game of the year, not spicy at all.
No, I'm saying that was too spicy. I want to try and calm it. I want to calm it. I like Danny talking about the game she loves, but I feel like you don't want to try and fight for the top 10 for this. But I'll see 2 Point Campus.
Written as 2 Point Canvas on this list.
Canvas. You know what? Right, I loved 2 Point, and I loved the remake, the 2 Point Hospital remake. And Campus does some really cool things in that I think it iterates on the hospital one in a really cool way, in that it's the same kind of mechanics. You're building a fucking operational campus instead of a hospital, and that's very much the same, and the building's still the same, and it's very familiar. But instead of the formula where you're having loads and loads of patients come in and out, and the idea is like efficiency and curing as many people as quickly as possible and getting them in and out and minimizing deaths and all of that, this is like you get maybe 12 people and you keep them for a period of time, and it's your position as the manager of a university to check in on them as individuals and like see who they're forming friendships with, what they're struggling with, and you can kit out their particular surroundings to what they need, what they like to do. And it's all about like maximizing the efficiency in a more granular way for less people. And that was very cool because it took what you were doing in like a management sim and just made it like more about individual things rather than how much you could do at any one time. And I think that was really cool. And I had some real fun playing that, but it was a very like, I don't want to say it's a mid game because that's unfair, but it was just a very like slightly above average game that's nice to play, and there's nothing critically wrong with it, but it's not top 10 material for me.
It just doesn't hit like a tier, it doesn't do anything like as interesting enough to warrant like the top things. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just good, nice, I love sim games, I love management games, and it was just good brain off churn through this for like a few evenings in a week kind of thing. And it was
Okay.
a shame because the humor was nice and everything about it was nice, but it wasn't like a big thing. You know, like last year when what was it fucking called? That like supervillain management game came out.
Evil Genius.
Evil Genius,
Evil
yeah.
Genius 2.
Evil Genius 2. Like I had a real nice time playing that, but it again wasn't like top 10 hitter for me. It was just brainworms management. And it's a shame to cut it off, but it's not going to get up here, especially if you two haven't played it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the ones especially where two of us haven't played it, we'll give it the nod, we'll give it the respect, but it won't make the group list, unfortunately.
Yeah. I respect it, but it's gotta go.
That's the thing. There are assassinations in this game that are like respectful, and there are others that are like get this off the fucking list, and those need to be recognized as such.
Who's after
Deleted?
Danny? There's literally 3 people, and there's a simple order that we've been going on for a good sized chunk now, and I'm going to forget what it is. You know, go ahead.
Yeah, because you went, and then it's me. Okay. Well, since you two have been having a fucking...
I'm scared.
Jordan,
I love you, mate. Jordan, we're friends.
You two have been having a wee giggle. I know, thank you.
Come on, there's a lot of shit.
What's Norco?
Oh, fuck me. No, this is actually quite a simple fight because I just haven't played enough of that game to really fight for it. I will say how much I like that game, and then we'll just chop it off because that's one that I've played, you two haven't played. Norco is like a very cool, very surreal sort of text adventure, sci-fi future thing that's set in like
New Orleans. Chance then, fucking text adventure.
It basically is. It's like it's sorry, not a text adventure. It's like a point and click game.
All right, okay. It's not just fucking like.
No. Sorry, that was his words. Like you're moving around these environments, you're picking up stuff, you're like chatting to folks, stuff like that, and it's in like this future like dystopian New Orleans that like has this very very cool pixel art style that has like this very surreal look to it. It's written in a cool way. Like it's a very fleshed out, very thought out world. One of those ones where like you feel like you're dropped in this like tiny part and it's like this fucking big and you're seeing like this small, very well thought out part of it. Where I don't even fucking remember what the real main plot line of it is. Like your mother's gone missing and you're basically tracking like her footsteps as she found as you're going through this weird software, you're going through the streets, you're talking to these folks. There are these like really cool sections where you can like it changes the way the gameplay plays, and you know it always kind of surprises you in different ways, and it really takes that kind of old-fashioned point and click story genre and does something very fresh with it. That's just like a very unique kind of story and look that I've just never played before in games. Like I've just never played a game like Norco, and it's not a lot of time where you get to have that experience where it just feels very unique and cool. But not played enough of it to really warrant a full account. The other two haven't played it. I'm fine to remove it from this list.
Yeah, I had a look at it while we were prepping earlier, and it looks great. Like the art looks great, and I love a good fucking point and click. And I would be ready to fight for it, I think, if I'd had played it, but I haven't, so it's got to go.
One
down.
down.
That looks like good Christmas voider. Love that. What have we got that needs Colin, but doesn't really need Colin? Right, let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
A game I enjoyed playing, but is not going to touch the top 10, in my humble opinion, The Quarry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fair
one. The Quarry's cool. Like, I watched a lot of it being played, and I thought that the fucking whatever facial tech they have, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like the cast is really good. It's got your man from he's in fucking Booksmart, and he's in a load of stuff that I can never remember.
I love that guy though. Fucking,
he's so funny.
What's Fly Airplanes?
Yeah, he's got Brenda Song from High School, not from High School Musical, from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, a legend. So yeah, I enjoyed Justice Smith from Detective Pikachu. Anyway, I enjoyed walking around the camp, and I enjoyed all that kind of stuff, and I thought the story was pretty cool for the most part. But see, at the end when it revealed, like when it shows you like this person, this happened to this person, and this happened to this person, and there was an entire fucking thing that happened that it's like, you didn't discover the mystery of blah. And it's like, fuck, we have overplayed this. Like, we took too long playing this. Like, I was getting fucking fed up with how long it was taking to go through this game, and there was all this other stuff that we just didn't see.
Yeah, it's a game that warrants you to play it like 5 times.
Yeah, but it just doesn't. It's just not, the actual gameplay isn't fun enough to play 5 times. The fucking all the shit around it. Like, when you finish the game, the credits are like a true crime podcast talking about the game. That's really cool.
That was cool.
But yeah, what do you think, Danny?
I really liked it. It was a good couple of evenings, like fucking curl up on the sofa with my partner, like red fucking LEDs in the room, filling up atmospheric shit. Hey!
Playing the quarry.
And we made all of the decisions together, and we argued over a couple of them. But I think the only person we killed like one person at one fucking, I can't remember which one. So we did all right, but then I saw there was like so many outcomes and like different things that you could do each time, and it was like, come back and play it again for a different experience, and it was like, don't think I'm gonna do that.
Interesting that's what annoyed both of you. It's like,
because
I missed
like,
stuff. Fuck you, mate.
Well, a lot of the combat is just you're like wandering about, and the jump scares are like a first time thing. Like, if you replay it, you know that they're coming, and then it's like a random quick time event, and you've got to stop someone from getting like killed or shanked or something. And I think once you know that that's coming, it's gonna be a different kind of experience. So I wasn't compelled to go back and like see, who else can I save, or who else can I kill, and stuff like that. It was just like, that was a nice experience. It looks really nice. It was a good visual time, and I will delete it off my PS5 and then play it again.
It's more of a criticism of the genre, really, and this is probably the best one of these that I've played since like Until Dawn. But
this kind of is the genre.
Yeah.
They've really owned it.
Yeah, so I think it's a solid game. It just doesn't rank. It's not going to make top 10. It's not worth keeping. So we have quarrelled with the quarry, and it is gone. Harold?
All right. Rumbleverse.
I was actually just looking at that. This will be a quick one. Rumbleverse is cool. It's a battle royale from Iron Galaxy, where the entire gimmick is you're all wrestlers. The things you're picking up on the ground are wrestling moves, like and like steel chairs and shit like that. And I think it plays brilliantly. It's a really cool gimmick. I just didn't play enough of it to kind of fight for it. There was other battle royales taking my time. But you can, if you get your special and it happens to be like a power bomb and you're at the top of a building, you can lift them up, jump off the building, and just spin all the way to the ground, and your damage stacks. So there's ways, like, people have 200 health, and you've seen kills that have done 24,000 damage. Like, it's all about that kind of shit. So yeah, I think it's a really, really solid game. And I hope it finds its audience, because it is one that I still have on the PS5 that I will play a game or two of every 2 weeks and go, oh yeah, that's quite funny. Good references, clearly made by folk that love wrestling. So yeah, Rumbleverse can go easy.
Get it cut.
Okay. I'm trying to decide whether I want a fucking rant or not. This will be brief.
God of War Ragnarok.
Gran Turismo 7 is a brilliant driving game masquerading as this Ponzi fucking cafe simulator.
I love a cafe, mate.
It's for people that fucking turn their nose up at Top Gear. Like, it's for folk that want to shag cars. It's like the driving in Gran Turismo 7, brilliant. It looks ridiculous. Of course it does. It's a Gran Turismo game on a PS5. However, the entire, like, let me go back to this cafe and here's a menu. What's on the menu? It's cars. Would you like to pick one of these cars to go and drive for a while? It's like, yeah, mate, I've been wanting to go and drive cars for about 10 minutes, but you won't shut the fuck up, because you're like, the hatchback sedan was actually invented by Johnny Hatchback in 1912. And let me tell you all about Johnny Hatchback.
John H. Hatchback. Yeah,
it's so fucking it is the most pretentious game of the year. Like, it's brutal. It's clearly made by...
Weird that Gran Turismo 7 took that.
Yeah, it's like the people that make Gran Turismo are like psychotic about cars, and in some ways I respect it. It's like, this is almost like a car simulator type game, like an iRacing or something, rather than a racing game like Forza or whatever. But yeah, it was as noted in my review that got me death threats. I just thought it wasn't up to much outside of the racing itself. I don't know if they've said they're going to do this, but I bet when PSVR 2 comes out and that gets integration with that will look brilliant too. Yeah, there needs to be a mode where you start up Gran Turismo 7 and it's like cars mode, like you just do the driving bit. Yeah, instead that's fucking history lesson, like getting bored to tears by some fucking Tory wank. Sorry, Gran Turismo 7, RIP. I famously hate PlayStation games though, so that's getting killed.
I'm not gonna get bored to tears by Tory wanks. Who's next?
It's just not very nice, is it?
Like Daniel.
Oh, it could be about either of us, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Weird West.
Oh yeah, that's one of my picks that's going to go up. Great, I can hear the sound of my own voice. I know that Jordan played a fair chunk of this as well. Weird West was one of my more anticipated ones this year. It's by the founders of Arcane, who moved to make their own kind of studio and wants to make to pull the immersive sim genre just from Arcane owning it and trying a different thing with it. It is like a Wild West top-down shooter version of something like Dishonored, where you and there's things I'll get to in a minute, but the good things about the game are the immersive sim stuff is really cool. The fact having like the Wild West linked with these weird supernatural things that is kind of like in Dishonored, where it's like there's kind of witches and undead things and some magician things, but for the most part, like there's bounty hunters and fucking horses and you're in saloons. Like it's all very much like a Wild West simulating thing.
Mm-hmm.
The immersive sim thing is really fun. Like it's very much as you pretty much arrive as you travel through these map in these different kind of encounters. So every kind of like area has this pretty much a square area, and it's just littered with things. So some of it's you go into like these mines and caves, a lot of which you see an encounter that has like some farmland, a building, a horse, this and that, and there's enemies that you're going around, and you can really approach that from 100 different angles in the same way that people jazz about Deathloop and Dishonored and things like that. Like you can go in guns blazing and blow things up, you can go super stealthily, or you can use these kind of magic powers that you unlock as like that you've unlocked from this mysterious facility as you are, by the way, story-wise, like your husband got killed and you're like a fucking badass lady that just goes around trying to figure out where, oh no, it doesn't get killed, it's taken or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're trying to hunt down what's happening to that. Other cool parts are like there's a lot of cool downtime stuff you can do. You basically go up to the town and there's just like find most wanted, you find this item, you go to this part of the map. You might get encounters along the way where they interrupt you and go, like there's a bunch of witches, you gotta fight them. But for the most part, like, and those levels are all really cool. My problem with it, and why I didn't go completely all in on it, is like the top-down shooting thing just never really felt that great.
Yeah.
Like, like having this line, I think they did the absolute best they could, UI-wise and technical-wise, with the thing. But like, it always felt a little bit awkward trying to do that, to do the stealthy thing and to do the kind of shooting thing, because shooting is usually better for first-person shooter, and while Jordan doesn't like the stealthy parts of first-person shooters in Dishonored, I think it suits it better. So it's cool for like being able to crouch around and get a view of your surroundings, but when it comes to shooting, which a lot of the game is, getting into gunfights, that didn't feel great. And like the world was cool, but it wasn't really cool enough like to really invite myself to get involved with. I got a lot out of it when I was like really digging in, and kind of I like broke into someone's building when they were asleep because it was nighttime, and I could like rob their cash register and take stuff and be able to get out with them. And if I got caught, like the town would fucking revolt against me and I'd be marked as a certain thing. If you grow up in a certain thing, you get zombies that fight you, and if you fuck up, then the zombies can infect other people, and then suddenly you've got an entire 30 people. It's a lot of like ripple effects that go on. That's really cool. But it's gameplay wise, it was kind of unsatisfying. Super cool, but I don't think it's worth a 10. Jordan, what do you think?
No, you've pretty much put it the way I feel. Like it's a game that I'd love to see like an extensive video essay on, about like what could happen and all the different permutations of the quest, because it is kind of, it's Arcane sensibilities with old school Fallout style gameplay and Fallout style like emergent quests. But yeah, I thought it is really cool. It's a really cool game, but for me the shooting completely fell down. Like it's speaking of Fallout, like it could have done with like a VATS equivalent or something like that to just kind of like eliminate the actual shooting kind of portion of that. I liked that you could go into a random house and there'd be there'd be a fucking doily sitting on the thing, and it would start some big mad quest, which is very Fallout. It's very like, it reminded me of H Bomber Guy's Fallout New Vegas video, where he's like, you could have came here via 9 different quests in all these ways that the game doesn't tell you trigger this quest. Like, it had that about it. Honestly, like the same setting, the same story, the same missions. See if this was like a third person game, like a third person shooter. I think this was fucking brilliant.
Because the thing is, like, it's doing the immersive thing, but in like an open world capacity, like, which is it's the same way that like Elden Ring is great because it's using the Souls-like thing in open world capacity. So that's cool about it. But I think mechanically it just didn't quite click.
Yeah,
Weird West.
I can't argue with that. The combat, I think, I mean, you made the points about the combat, but the narrative was really cool, and the quests were really cool, and how everything unraveled. But the combat was too unforgiving for those kinds of stakes. Like you said, with the whole, like, if you fuck up a robbery, the whole town's going to revolt against you thing. And it's like, if you are dealing with like janky, awkward combat and you fuck up a whole kind of narrative tree because the way that you play it is fighting against you, that makes for a really miserable experience.
I'm sorry, Danny. I had no idea you played this game. I did, yeah. I didn't spot that on the sheet.
I did.
Sexist pig.
I love a top-down Western fucking shoot 'em up. I love my Westerns.
Yeehaw.
Yee-naw.
Weird West. Highlighted. Deleted. Okay. Harold.
Harold Mitchell, that's me. Let's go for As Dusk Falls. What's it doing here?
Fucking good. What a shit game.
Why is this on here?
As Dusk Falls is like it's like one of these. It's like fucking The Quarry. It's one of these narrative choicey games. But the whole thing is like there's like a kind of dual timeline story that you're like, oh, you're playing as this family then, and then you're playing as one of the people from this family in the future and the past or whatever. The performances are good. Like the voice acting is cool, and the dual timeline story, it does work well in terms of like reviews and shit like that. The controls are terrible. The art style, and it's all fucking just like still images that are used to convey movement, kind of. There is occasional animation, but it's mostly just still images. Like, screenshots of this game look fantastic, but they hang on the art too long. So it'll be like, the action will be, guy lifts up a gun, and your character will still be like, the guy will still be like, and then 5 seconds later, the gun will appear in the next bit of art. So there's no pace to it. There's no fucking, there's no big reveals. There's no tension. And when those games often have moments where you're like, do this before the time expires, not having that tension is like a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, and I thought some of the dialogue was kind of pish as well. So I'm more than happy to get rid of this.
We're gunning through these. This is easy, mate. Easiest podcast of our lives.
By the way, I think this might have been on here when we were trying to play more stuff and didn't actually get around to it. Did anyone here play Curse to Golf?
No.
Okay, that can go. Sorry, Curse to Golf. We wanted to play you, but we ran out of time. I won't count that as mine. Did anyone play Nobody Saves the World?
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah, that's a really fucking cool game.
Okay, Nobody Saves the World. Justify it, son.
Oh, right. Nobody Saves the World. Fuck it. Nobody played that game. That's what nobody did. That game's really good. It's from the developers of Guacamelee.
Yep.
And you basically wake up with like, maybe you have amnesia, I don't know. But essentially the concept is that you can transform into different shapes. You're a shapeshifter. And you initially get the chance to like, okay, in this basic ass form, you can't really do a whole lot. And then you can turn into a rat, which means like you get this little bite attack. Yappa. Shut it, please. And it goes, okay, that's cool. But like, you basically get like horse, big fucking strong cunt, robot, like, and it comes a branching thing where you kind of, if you want to try and learn how to transform into this thing, that's how you get to become like this and that, and you want to become like a weird tentacle monster, whatever. And all of these creations have completely different playstyles of how you do it. And what you're playing is essentially like a dungeon crawling game. You go around these very cool maps, and you're basically going into these leveling up dungeons. And in the environment you're going around, you're fighting things like that. And sort of, as the wizard, you can like, have like this fighting powers. There's an archer that has like a bow but you can only shoot like in certain directions where you're facing. So there's always little downsides. You can play as a horse that has this like really strong attack, but it's a back attack, so you have to constantly face backwards and kick your feet back at them. So you're constantly bashing into things like that. And there's things that are super strong but super slow, things that cut through things, and being able to. And I think you can. There's a really cool mechanic that I'm going to be butchering, so I apologize to those who love this game, but I think when you enter a dungeon, you can only take in like a select few like shape-shifted options. So you basically come in like, okay, I want to try and for this thing, I want to try and go in as just like the horse and figure out like how I can blast through this thing. Because certain dungeons, might have certain small things to fit through. They might have more hordes of enemies to fight through. And basically, it's a cool-looking world. The combat's really fun. I think it was like playing through the dungeon was a little bit too basic for me to be completely addicted to it. Like it wasn't doing anything too mind-blowing, especially not as like I think as charming as Guacamelee did. But the mechanic itself in like swapping between these different shape-shifting options and gradually learning new shapes and new forms that change the game in different ways makes that a very, very special game. And it's on Game Pass. I'd recommend people play it. I don't see it on people's list very much, but it's an underrated one of this year. But I'm happy for it to be knocked off the list.
Okay, I enjoyed that argument, but I get it.
It does look good. It does look good.
I massively rate Drinkbox. Like I love the Guacamelee games. PS Vita, fucking heritage of the Guacamelee games.
I don't know why people didn't play that game. I guess like it just didn't come out at the right time.
It came out when fucking Elden Ring was out. Like, yeah, that is the actual reason.
Rest in peace.
Okay.
Oh fucking Saints Row, Christ.
That's a top 10er. A game I gave 2 stars. That's a top 10er.
I liked it. Had fun.
That's fucking our Far Cry 6 award.
We'll get to it.
This will be a quick one, and sadly the last time I get to do this, so I'll enjoy it. Loot River.
What fucking is that game, man? I don't even know what that game is. You talked about it on the podcast. I think I got a fucking drink at the time. I don't know.
So it's a roguelike game where the entire, like, at least from the first couple of levels, to get through the levels, you're like moving the platform you're on. So like it's like sliding.
Like as mobile ads where you're on like a platform and they cannot combine to other platforms, and then
you're running forward, and you have to choose whether you want
+5 or +3. Yeah, I love those games, man. I love watching them played on YouTube before my video.
Yeah, so basically it's a roguelike game with interesting kind of level manipulation mechanics to get through the level, but there are so many roguelike games at this point that they have to be banging, and I love a roguelike and I didn't fucking play much of it, so yeah, Loot River can go.
Man, can't fucking
honestly think it just lingered more in my brain because of the fucking Moon River thing, so
yeah, we just had to put it in there just to say Loot River.
Loot River. That'll do. Danny?
All right. Let's just do it. Let's get it fucking done. Let's do Saints Row.
Okay. If you insist.
I wanted this to be good. I so wanted this to be good. I was caning for a cool open world thing where you just ramp about with cool guns and cool cars, and like a vaguely okay fucking story. And what we got pitched was this: you're just like this gang leader just trying to, bring up this new grassroots kind of fucking gang, doing little petty crimes just to build up your rep and like make a stand.
First of all, I'm sorry, I want to hear your argument, but you say petty crimes when the first one is rob a fucking bank. Like it's straight up to robbing a bank.
To be fair, like compared to where that game goes and compared to like the previous Saints Row where you're like stealing the moon or whatever, like robbing a bank is pretty fucking reserved.
That's fine. But as you get into it, you have to do like little bits and pieces, and I love that concept. I love the idea of, you're starting this new thing. It's kind of, it was a great place to start. And then I remember like doing that tutorial, and then you get put in the world and you have to drive back to your apartment. And for like the first like 5 minutes of the drive, all my character was doing was just swearing, but like swearing in the most fucking irritating British accent that I've ever heard in my life. So I'm just driving.
You chose the voice, mate. To be fair,
yeah, but it's not.
You have to, because it really illuminates how fucking bad that game is. Because there's literally a sequence where I think it's the same one Danny's referring to, and she's like, cunting fucking shit.
Yeah,
shitting
bollocks.
shitting cunting balls.
Like, what do British people do? They swear a lot, right? They say cunt.
They do.
What if we just did that?
Yeah, shit willy buggers. And it was just that all the way back to my apartment. And I was like, okay, if I just like ignored the dialogue, maybe I can get on board with this. But there was so many like little fucking things that were just irritating, whether it was like just little janks in gameplay or the world not feeling as compelling. Like, it's 2022 and it felt like a game from like 10 years ago, and 10 years ago I would have fucking hoovered this up. It would have been great, everything I wanted, but now it just felt vapid and shite, and I just could not get on board with it. It was fucking annoying. I'll just replay GTA 5 again.
The worst thing is, like, there is the comedy moment of the year in this game, because you can do the wanker gesture and walk at the same time, but if you crouch and do that, it looks like you're wanking and like running down the street. That made me piss myself laughing. That was the highlight of the game for me. The shooting shite, the driving shite is full of fucking bugs. The characters are terrible. The character creator is brilliant, but
yeah.
It's a fucking shit game.
Guys, you're winning me over. I fucking love this game all over again. I've played more Saints Row than plenty of these fucking indies on this list. I played the fuck out of this game. Not to completion for sure, but you know what? I had fun in Saints Row. And when I talked to about everyone, and they talked to me about fucking like talking to enemy of the show, Dashiell Wood, about it, and he was like, this is how, look how fucking shit all these things are. I was like, aye, technically, but fucking grow up, mate. It's a laugh, mate. So I think the driving is fine. I like driving around that weird fucking empty ass desert city with nothing fucking in it. I think the shooting's fine with these enemies that pop up out of fucking nowhere. I think you're just blasting every now and then. And you're just a fucking corrupt weirdo that's like, me and my friends, we're gonna learn how to shoot a gun and murder people. It's like, I've looped around. You know what? A lot of the quests and the missions I found charming and quite fun quite a lot of the time, because it wasn't trying to be like pure tongue-in-cheek and like, look how ironic we are. It just was trying to be funny and quite innocently charming. But that's so odd when you're like minigunning cunts in the head, including like civilians.
Yeah, it was.
Which just made it unintentionally funny.
The game starts with you like robbing that fucking payday loan place, and they're like, we're not going to take your money. We don't take off the innocent. We just take off the cut to 50 hours later, where you're like,
exactly. The fucking morals are off the fucking chain.
They're all like uni students who they're like, oh, I don't really know how to do this crime stuff, but it'll pay the bills. It's like, you're gonna fucking murder people.
It's the same fucking. It is Far Cry 6. It is, welcome to this island, you're on your holiday. By the way, can you pop over and get us a wee knob of uranium while you're
a wee nuclear treat?
It's a rancid game. It's nowhere near this list.
I liked getting my car and jazzing that up. I loved all the gangs, like the stupid fucking gangs that one of them's like, they can't really decide if they're anti or pro communism. It's like, are we making fun of it? Or are we actually involved? Can the writing team make their fucking mind up? It is a fucking shambles of a game. What a game! Why are you highlighting it? Why are you highlighting it on the sheet right now? That's fucking staying in. It's an easy 10. It's an easy 10.
It's not even an easy fucking 20. Like, it's a terrible. Bad gameplay, bad shooting. Like, it's not a good game. Like,
it's got something to it. It's got something to it.
If you're gonna make me fight tooth and nail for Pokemon Violet, you can get fucked. This is going.
Saints Row looks way fucking better than Pokemon Violet. Fuck, that game looks like this fucking shite. Saints Row ran way better than I bet if I played Pokemon it'd be fucking horrendous, mate.
Saints Row barely ran better than Pokemon.
It ran perfectly on my PlayStation 5. I had no problems. Well, you can take it off the list though.
I was about to say, there's absolutely fucking
no
way.
The more you guys talked about it, the more I was like, that was fun. I remember, I had fun playing it. I enjoyed the shit parts of that game. It's fun. It's like unintentionally, entertainingly bad, and I was having a good time with it.
Okay, as that stands, we have 35 games remaining, so I'm going to read them off.
What the fuck are you on about?
Fuck me, man.
Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Ollie Ollie World, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Rainbow Six Extraction, Tunic, Ghostwire Tokyo, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Rogue Legacy, Citizen Sleeper, Mario Strikers, Neon White, Stray, Cult of the Lamb, Multiverses, Roller Dome, Blood Hunt, Power Wash Simulator, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Gotham Knights, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, God of War Ragnarok, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Modern Warfare 2, Marvel's Midnight Sun, Case of the Golden Idol, Warzone 2, Sonic Frontiers, Marvel Snap, FIFA 23. And I believe it is Harry's turn.
Can we lump Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 in the same thing and just talk about it?
Absolutely fucking not, no.
You're not going to get Warzone 2 on this list, Jordan.
It's the best shooter of the year. It's fucking fantastic. Warzone 2 is...
Then let's get Modern Warfare 2. Let's do Modern Warfare 2 then. Let's do, all right, fine. Let's do Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 is a decent multiplayer, I think. I think it's got some things I like about it, but like overall, I don't really love how like... It points out on fucking TikTok all the time what I see about how ridiculous it is trying to level up guns in that game, and there's a lot of maps like that fucking like border one with the cars that's just a big street. That's one of the worst maps I've ever played in Call of Duty. I really like the campaign of this game. Until like the last 4 levels of the Modern Warfare 2 remake, it had every single mission of that game has something really cool and really memorable about it. It's like they sat down and they're like, what's the cool thing that we can do at this level? Like, are you in like a foggy like British island where you're sniping like underneath like a fucking cool ass lighthouse from like 500 meters away? The one where like you're scaling over the American-Mexican border and like chasing someone through like the external suburbs of America, like bursting through houses in the middle of the night. Fucking rad as shit. All these levels have this thing, and things like the Amsterdam level, but all of the things, they lose the kind of tone that Modern Warfare was so good at. It was like it actually created like quite an engaging and immersive, gritty in a good way story. That I think went a little bit too far in Modern Warfare with like fucking gassing children and stuff like that. It's like, don't really need that.
Bit too far.
This scales it totally back to like Cold War levels of like ye fucking haw, where like I love the military, where they didn't really have it a whole lot, and a lot of those levels, like, you know, you lose the stakes and things like that. An example is that I give off quite a lot is that in the Amsterdam level, a level looks fucking amazing. Like to walk around,
so much money, like, that's
so much money on screen.
Expensive level you've ever seen.
And you don't really do anything in the level. You do 2 things that annoy me. You do one thing, which is like you walk up to like a meeting, you kind of observe someone, they clock you. In the firefight, you mow down like 11 civilians, and then a car rolls up. You get in, and everyone's like, "Good job, Lloyd. Let's fucking roll out." I'm like, that was a fucking international war crime that just happened in the middle of Amsterdam, and we're just rolling away.
It's all right, mate. Everyone was on the reefer. They wouldn't have remembered.
Yeah, exactly. They love that fucking wacky tobacco. So like, yeah,
it also suffers from the fact that it's the sequel. It's the sequel to the best modern first-person shooter ever.
Yeah,
like,
and like it has. I think it doesn't go completely off of what Modern Warfare did, especially in the multiplayer. It still feels kind of like that. I don't mind that it's slowed down quite a lot. But I still think Modern Warfare beats it, and it's just kind of like a disappointing new edition. That's still good. I liked it, but I'm not gunning for it very much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Get it shunted.
MIWA 2 is gone. In the spirit of getting rid of stuff rapid, I'll get rid of Blood Hunt. I enjoyed playing that game the first couple of weekends, but like, and I think the concept of a battle royale that's a lot more about traversal and stuff like that is cool. I thought it looked brilliant. Like, that city looks fucking sick.
I fucking really liked Blood Hunt. Like,
yeah.
I love this game. And yeah, I also like did not play it after the first 3 weekends. But when I did play it, I love so much about it. Like, I love the vampire thing of like being able to chomp on random civilians' necks to get certain abilities. Like scaling these kind of slick walls in the night feels awesome. Like, the movement is great.
Samurai sword. So when you get the samurai sword,
it's over. You've won the game. Yeah. And like the shooting's really nice. Like all of the combat feels good. And there is like a verticality. There's lots of fun. You've got these superpowers where you can like oftentimes you can kind of cloak or wraith away from certain combats, or you can like be really stealthy, or you can like slam down and go full offensive. And I think I don't really know what
Does
I
it
lost in that
hang?
game.
Does it? Do you think it hangs? Is my question, because
I don't think so, but just because clearly it's done something for us not to have bothered to keep playing it. Like, I think it's a very, very impressive game. I really liked it. I think like it was. This is someone who's like not really a battle royale guy. I often bounce off those games, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was just a unique thing. So I just wanted to put in extra love, but I think I'm fine with getting this off.
Cool. Highlighted, deleted. Danny.
Okay, in the spirit of speed, this is one that you've put on here, but it's got 2 NAS from me and Harry, and it's Mario Strikers.
Oh, it's got fucking 3 NAS, as in I think like this game is fucking gonads, as in balls. It's gameplay. Mario Strikers is really good, but they kind of forgot to give you anything to do. There's no fucking single player. Like you play a couple of tournaments and that's it. Like it's a paper thin game, but the actual football is good. And this game is forever cursed because I went to Nintendo to play it and lost my first ever game to Rhiannon from The Gamer. So
the darkest moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Andy didn't sack me on the spot. So Mario Strikers highlighted.
Striked.
Who's next?
It's you.
Oh,
Same
wow.
order every time.
You'll have to keep reminding me.
Just remember, you go after Danny, right? That's the way it goes.
Okay. I just forget who started the initiation because everyone starts talking, and then my little brain forgets. Marvel Snap.
Oof.
I like that game. I like
it's
playing
a
that game.
banger, isn't it?
Have we all played it?
Yeah.
I've only played like maybe 10 games or so in it, but I dig it.
It's a brainworm in it. It's a Marvel Clash of Champions style brainworm.
Yeah.
I haven't allowed myself to go full into the hole. I just touched it for some posterity chat here, but it really is good.
It really is. The thing is, I really like Marvel Snap. I don't think it hangs, but the way that it just takes all the pish away from fucking Hearthstone and gets to the good bits, where it's like there's only 3 places you can put your fucking card. You can only play certain cards at certain times. Like really pared down decks. And the games are just fucking go, and it all happens.
And it's such a simple upgrading cosmetic thing as well. Like just making your cards look really fucking cool. It's quite a compelling thing.
I think it's a really great card game. I wish it was. I really don't like this trend of mobile games that you have to be fucking connected online to play. Like when I was on those mega long flights after Marvel Snap came out, I could have fucking killed like 3 hours just fucking battering AI, but that's like a specific case. Yeah, I think it's a solid number 11, but it's kind of I mean, it can stay. There's no reason we don't need to cut it, but
I've not played enough to fully fight for it. I've just accepted that it might be a little bit of a brain pinger over the next month or so. But...
I mean, we could take it to judges' houses if you want. Like, there's other shit here that I think is got.
It'd be kind of funny if it made a 10, like, but I don't know. I think it's just too much game here. We're at like 35 games. Like,
there's a lot to fight for here. So,
I mean, what do we think?
If it's pushing 11, I think maybe we leave it for now.
Yeah, you never know. It could be. There could be a situation. We'll keep it for now.
Sure, why not? We haven't kept it in a while.
Now it's me. Speaking of shite, Rainbow Six Extraction has been on here for far too long.
I'm Googling this. I refuse to... Rainbow Six Extraction is surely a 2021
it came out
game.
In January?
It has to get the Overlode Banter Game of the Year award because we had such a fucking good time just talking shite and just fannying around while we were playing it.
We could do that fucking pair in socks in the same room.
But we haven't, Harry. We haven't
because we're fucking banter mates. Like we're funny as fuck. The game's still shite.
The means of production.
It brought us together in a way that nothing else has this year. That was the only time we have all played a game.
We played like 3 games, and I didn't even enjoy myself during it.
No,
I mean 3 games games of this. Okay. We played it for like 2 hours. I don't know, you always bring up this thing of like the fucking golden memories of Rainbow Six Extraction. Like, we hung out making podcasts together every week, and it's like, oh, bring me back to the days of yonder when we'd sit playing Rainbow Six Extraction. It was fucking shite, man.
I'm not saying that the game wasn't shite, because it fucking was. I'm talking about the aura of banter
you
that
and your
we
fucking
had.
auras.
Remember, like, Jordan lying on the fucking floor and one of us having to run back and hoof him over our fucking shoulder?
Those moments when I wasn't playing the game, I was just lying there like a fucking slug.
Yeah, like fucking Rainbow
Shoving
Six
you in a coffin to get you out to the next fucking gank level.
Where we talked about this last year in the Game of the Year. Okay, no, I'm wrong. I think we just talked about it loads in the podcast, so I'm just used to talking about it. Yeah, I'm the biggest Siege fan here. Fucking, I played so much, hundreds of hours of Siege. Like, it has the Rainbow Six thing, but it's like a fucking Siege side mode that, like,
it is.
And I don't like PvE stuff. Like, it's a funky concept, but like, we discovered that doing the stealthy thing breaks apart very quickly when you're in one person, when you're in there's fucking 3 of you, and you got to try and just. There's certain elements that are nice, but it's just fucking pish that's not different enough or not like cool enough to make this list.
No,
We've talked about it far longer than it fucking deserves.
It's not touching anything. It's just
we're over an hour in. Let's cut some games.
Okay. Danny?
Right, me. All right. What's a shiter? What is clearly not gonna get in? Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, so that is we're getting there.
Oh, that game's fucking terrible.
This is a tough one, guys. I wish I played it. I should have played it last night.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you discount the way it plays, the way it controls, the way it looks, the voice acting, the story, the world, your mission objectives, and every moment that you're playing that game, it's all right. But those things just kind of, I don't think it hangs.
Well, I mean, if those are if you discount those things, like, I think it's 11. You know, yeah. I think it's pushing it.
Strong 11.
It's an 11 out of 1,000, as in that is my review score for the game.
My question is, when I saw the clip of Sonic Frontiers of like something you actually do in the game, which is like when you stumble across one of those big fucking monsters that you like run the back of and then fight or whatever, things like that. I was like, where was this in the 5 trailers leading up to it, like showing you actually doing things as Sonic? Because that game just had I think the worst marketing campaign ever. It's just like him standing in an Unreal Engine template, like under some fucking piss and rain in what looks like the Falkland Islands. I don't know what the fuck it is. Yeah, I don't know enough about Sonic Frontier. I didn't play it. I'm only going on taking the piss, but so.
What if it's great? What if I played it and I really liked it?
Maybe. I mean, you like. I think you like Sonic stuff, don't you, Danny? You've like
noted death threats from Sonic fanboys.
You wrote about the Rise, didn't you?
In 1992.
Yeah, well, that's the only time Sonic was good, so that's what I was asking about.
And even then, pushing it.
I called Sonic a prostitute in a public forum. People threatened my life.
For his hedgehog of the night.
Shot him out back off the Falkland Islands.
Like
he died while fighting for Britain.
Rings pop out of him.
Run over by a lorry.
Oh, is it me now? Did I get it?
You.
It is.
Let's talk about Gotham Knights.
Okay.
Let's get the merch in. Let's get the plug.
So
he's wearing for the audio listeners at home. Jordan's wearing Gotham Knights a headset, and he's holding up a Gotham Knights Heroic Assault like collector's edition thing.
Yeah, and the main collector's edition's up there. I think this is a top 10. No.
Thank fuck, man. I was fucking worried.
Gotham Knights is my I get why folk aren't into this, but something did it to me of the year. I thought the story and characters were really good. The banter and the fucking and the body was great. The combat is better than I thought it was when I previewed it, and when you unlock the movement abilities, which is fucking ludicrous that you have to unlock the good movement in that game. Like, that is a huge oversight. But flying about the best looking Gotham that has ever been with all that smoke and all that shit, like, it's fucking fun, man. It doesn't hang. It's not as good a game as I think it is, but yeah, I like Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that. I think I disliked the combat more than you. I just like immediately was very put off by it.
Do you know what's fun? Me and noted child abuser Aaron Payne.
Fucking hell! That's the most direct way we've said it so far.
Played it co-op, and we both played as Red Hood and just shot people. So the game completely broke. So we'd stand at either end of like a combat encounter and just first person shoot everyone and it'd be over. I was like, this is great, this is gaming. See, when you can break a game, that's gaming for me. Highlighted, deleted.
Grand.
Okay.
Jordan.
What's all this Cult of the Lamb about?
I'd say it's a shame that you guys didn't play Cult of the Lamb, because that's a really good game. I think there's one element about it that, looking back when I was thinking about it today, does lose it for it. But it's like such a home run of a game, and it makes sense why it seemed to me a fuck ton of money. Cult of the Lamb, for those who don't know, is part roguelike, part like town management thing. You are risen from the dead by your lamb god, whatever, like this cultist god, and he said you've got to raise some followers. So you go to this plot of land, and you have this one cult follower, and you basically go out on these adventures, these journeys, whatever. I think what do they call them? Whatever. You go into the forest basically, and you just play kind of Binding of Isaac, Hades like style, like roguelike games with like fun abilities. You go and you get these little perks that you get along. So every run's a different kind of thing. You get different weapons, with like range attacks and melee attacks. The animation's really smooth and really charming. It looks really cool. And then you gather those resources. So no matter whether you die or not, you still get slightly less, but you'll get stuff to take back to your camp. And on those journeys, you also pick up followers that you'll rescue and save. And then you go back to the second part of the game, which is this very like straight up fucking fun town thing where you have a growing amount of cult followers that you're harvesting like follower juice from, like faith from, and they'll pray and they'll worship, and you have to build beds, and you have to do farms, all the kind of standard stuff that you might expect. And I think the more charming thing about it is you go to the shrines, and you can, to try and harvest as much like things to level up your camp as much, you need to try and get as much kind of faith as possible. So these cult followers, they will age and they will die. So if they get too old, they'll die, and if they try and repent against you, then they'll start trying to, they'll get against you. You'll start trying to fence thing. You can lock them up, things like that. But the shrine thing is it's like a very charming dark humor, because you'll have like these shrine events where you make people fight to the death and murder each other. You'll sacrifice people and burn them alive, and everyone's like, yeah. Very fun and very funny in that aspect. And there's also like an open world element to it, where you travel around this map to like meet other characters and play little mini games, and like there's a fishing thing. Like it just adds all these little tropes that are just like very charming about these type of games, and just builds this fleshed out experience. I think what loses Cult of the Lamb is sort of the late game stuff, which is what when I was reading what other people thought of Cult of the Lamb, I realized, oh yeah, I stopped playing it just like before like the last third of the game, because you level up the camp, things get bigger, you unlock cool stuff, bigger houses, stuff down below, you get like decorations, but at a certain point there's the progress goes from very big to very, very, very incremental. You're doing the same kind of thing to fight these mini bosses as you go from 4 different areas to fight the big boss. So eventually the town kind of gets like fun to develop for, and then it kind of gets boring to deal with. It just kind of becomes like a hassle and a chore to keep up, because there's so many people and you don't do much fun with it. The look of it doesn't really change much. Like you can plant down like some rocky shrine, things like that, but like it still looks very similar to how it does like 5 hours ago. But like tone-wise, nailed. Like the fact that they've made like a fun town management thing, even though it kind of loses towards the last half, and a really fun roguelike at the same time, I think is super impressive. But I don't think you two played it, and I think it just was charming enough, but wasn't like on fucking masterpiece level of other indies this year, that I'm fine to cut it.
Yeah, I played a wee bit, but I didn't play enough to really get to the meat of what it was trying to do. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm not gonna fight for it because I've played like an hour tops.
Okay.
Bye.
Danny?
Let's. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know if this is like a top tenner or not. I would maybe say yeah, but I don't know how you both feel about it.
There's a lot of good games on here. Let's talk about it.
Let's do Metal Hellsinger.
Yeah, I've been looking at that one for a while. I also don't know. Metal Hellsinger is a first person rhythm game, but it's essentially Doom, and you're killing on the beat. As you kill more, your multiplier goes up and more layers of the track come in. So it'll start off and it'll just be the drums, then the guitars, and then when you get to time 16, the vocals come in. All that works brilliantly. It's just for a music game, Wii Music pun, it's a bit one note, but tish. Like it's cool that the different guns are usually different time signatures. So
that's the thing I really liked about it.
They actually, if you have good rhythm, like you're going to be better at the game. So that's cool. I think the soundtrack's great. But yeah, it's like it's a bit too slight. Like I wish there was more of it, and I wish the story should have been bigger and better. Considering metal is so like it can be so lore heavy. Like you want this to be like a fucking like Iron Maiden's Metal Hellsinger would have been. It should be like this is the craziest fucking visuals of the year. When it's all a bit safe, it's all a bit samey. What do you think of it, Danny?
I really liked it, and I don't know if like wanting more of it, because I agree with you there, but I don't think that makes it an experience to kind of bum off away from the top games. It was quite short. Can't quite remember.
Oh yeah, if you just fly through it, you can beat it in like 3 hours.
Yeah, but it was a nice pocket of experience, and like playing it just felt fantastic. I think that's one of the best. It's up there for like one of the best feeling games that I played this year, and it was super immersive for me. And I sat and I just smashed through the whole thing in like a couple of sittings because of how intense it felt like at all times. But I think you're right. I didn't feel like I was doing anything of consequence. I was just sort of running through, having this nice experience with the controls and with the tunes, and I couldn't tell you anything that went on in the plot apart from there's a big sexy devil lady somewhere like in the art, and I was like, yeah, all right, that'll do. But yeah, I think you're right when you think of the scope of like what metal could do, and I think maybe some of that scope was probably there because you can't make a game like this without being pure into that world and you know the inspiration behind it. So but yeah, it's not in the final product, I guess. So I don't know. I think this is the hardest one for me because I wouldn't be mad if it was on the top 10. In fact, I'd be quite chuffed if it made it. But also, like, what do we lose to put it up there, kind of thing. But that's a later discussion.
That's the thing. Like, you can always bump it to the next round. But when I'm looking at this list of like 25 games, and I'm like, there's a fucking banging top 15 here, but I have no idea how it gets to a top 10.
Yeah, I think I'd be tempted to keep it.
I also only played the demo of this game, I will say. I didn't really play the proper game.
Let's keep it. There's stuff to cut, like that I think will be much shorter conversation.
Yeah, I think there's stuff on here that I would cut before Hellsinger.
Okay. It's me next, right?
Yep.
Learning. Rogue Legacy 2. I think it's a Jordan game. Me and Dan didn't play it.
Oh yeah, this is one of the ones that was said it was a much shorter conversation. The sequel to the greatest roguelike of all time, and I've barely touched it, should tell you enough about how I feel about Rogue Legacy 2. Super disappointing. It feels really good, but Dead Cells did the Rogue Legacy thing better than Rogue Legacy 2. So yeah, a disappointment. So get it gone. Oh. That was actually fortuitous that I deleted that. Why? Because my pick to get rid of is Stray.
Oh, this has been lingering around for a while.
Meow, bitch.
Meow.
So,
all right, boys.
Who finished Stray?
No,
I think it was just you, mate.
Okay. So
I got really forward. I think I got like 75% there. I don't know.
All right, I've got the edge here of having the full, encompassing experience of this critically acclaimed
Game of the Year nominated.
Game of the Year nominated independent game. Fucking hell. It was a nice experience, all right? I think the world was cool. You're dropped in, and I think controlling the cat felt really nice. As far as controlling cats can go, like you're platforming, you're exploring, you're seeing the world from that perspective. I thought that was really cool. I really liked the kind of dystopian robots in the ground because the world's gone to shit kind of thing. Didn't really like how they kind of like mashed every world culture into one thing really clumsily. That was a bit weird. But
cats can't be racist, mate. You can't blame that on them.
But it was
they're Egyptian, mate.
Exactly.
It was cool.
Gods.
It was cool. The ending was probably as you would expect it. You're a cat, you save people, you get the sun back. It happens. The fucking
ran over by a Ford Fiesta.
And I think it was cool. It was a cool experience. If this game had come out when I was a kid, when I was well into animals, I would have spent hours just running about as the cat in this fucking world. But
Jordan.
It was just a fun.
One of the visual watchers there.
Horrible. It wasn't as good as everyone says it is it? That's the crux.
Yeah, I like.
Scullion's going to kick my cunt in if he ever hears this, because all the games that he's pure highly reviewed this year, I've just felt like, what you fucking talking about?
Didn't even play Curse to Golf. I like Stray. I agree. I think like being as a cat in these environments, in these very nice, pretty neon lit environments, is nice. I think like a lot of my main issue, I quite like exploring the little city areas and finding that stuff. It was a little bit kind of confusing at times, figure out what the fuck you're meant to do sometimes. Maybe I'm just being daft.
No, you're right.
But like the actual kind of crux of what you do is you're generally kind of like going from place to place, avoiding getting hit by stuff. Like you're sort of just juking a bunch of Half-Life head crawlers.
I didn't like that bit.
Head crabs. Well, that's what a lot of like the in between moments are. And yeah, like the sci-fi is neat. I said it, I think, on a podcast we talked about it. But one thing I love is like the small story moments where the story moment I loved about Stray was the part where like they have plants around in the buildings because that's what like humans did, and they don't need plants to live, but they just like replicating what humans did because they kind of feel as weird attachments, that lost race, which is like stuff like that that's quite sweet. But I just think gameplay-wise, it wasn't wide enough for me to like it that much.
It gave you this really, really cool world to explore. Like there was in that level when you get to like the mechanical kind of tree house and you have to climb up to the top of it. Did you get that far?
Yes.
Yeah, and I got to that and I was like, this is fucking rad. And there was so many paths to explore and stuff. But by that point, you'd kind of realize that there's no reason to. Like there was a mission where you had to collect some different types of like different colors of flour, and I was like,
I remember it, and it's like it's not really real. Any reason if you do that, people will just ask you, "Can you bring me this thing?"
Yeah, and you do it, like, and it's like nothing happens.
In its defense, I think like a lot of the fun of it is like finding excuses to wander around and explore as a cat. It's like, oh, I want to find this thing, and you have to try and jump on this little thing and go through there and get on the edge of a branch and grab it. So like maybe it's all a vehicle just to play this, just to around this one thing they've perfected, which is like the cat movement and like playing as a cat.
Yeah, because even at the length that it was, a lot of it was just kind of filler. You know that like first mission you do when you get into the town and you have to I can't even remember what the point of it is, but you have to go to one place and it's like you have to go and get a jumper, but to get to it was a poncho or something, and to get the poncho made you need a certain type of wool, and you have to go to this person to get the wool, and it was just like a 5-part fetch quest to do something like, and it took like an hour, and that's like a big chunk of this game just doing like fetchy shit, and it's.
Here's why I don't like Stray. There's a TV with the QR code, right?
Right.
And it glitches. And you see the QR code for like a second. It's on there. And it glitches around. There's all these cursed weird things on the screen. For a second, it moves together and it shows the QR code. I spent fucking ages getting that QR code to line up. Doesn't go anywhere.
Nice, good. I actually
What's
like it more.
the
That's
fucking point? Trolly ass motherfuckers. But let's put a random QR code that does nothing. A JPEG I found online.
Should have put it to like the RSPCA or like
Lemon Party
Cat or something like that.
Meatspin.com.
Where's Top Ghetto on this list?
Fuck. Yeah, so that puts it bottom 50.
Okay. Stray.
Sorry to everyone that does not like
Deleted.
us right now. I like the game. It's a good game. I liked it a lot.
It's just not.
Harry, you're
top 10.
shouting.
Yeah.
Lower your
Lower your
voice. Stop
voice.
the fid.
Shouting.
Have you been crying?
No. No, you've
Danny.
been fucking crying.
Oh God! No wait, did I? Oh no, Harry
did
did.
stray.
You did stray. Oh fucking hell! Ugh. Right.
Hey, Danny.
What could just get fucked?
There is a very easy just get fucked.
Tunic.
What the
Wait,
Danny. I'm sorry, we're keeping FIFA 23 on the fucking top 10.
Oh, is that on? Oh, it's too late now. I've said it. I didn't scroll to the bottom.
Scroll, you daft!
Right. Okay. Well, let's just have a nice, calm chat about the wee fox.
All right.
And his little swords.
Ghostwire Tokyo is one below it. Who gives a fuck about that game?
It's on a
that was
different
the one I was,
page,
that
mate.
was that was the one I was talking about.
So sorry. So you're looking at the first 5. That's the only games you're looking at. You're like, well, the options here are the 3 best games of the year and Tunic. So my hands are tied.
We've got to do
hell,
them all.
man.
We've got to do them all. Can't lower
We've
your
got to do
voice.
them all.
We've got to do
I don't even
them
like
all.
Tunic that much, but it's just fucking funny as fuck that was the one that you lasered in.
From straight into Tunic, Perky's crying. All right. Tell me
You've
about
played Tunic, Danny.
I have played
apparently.
Tunic.
So I'll go first. Sure. I like Tunic. Fucking don't even want it on this list. I know I'm getting so aggro. Tunic has a really fucking cool couple elements about it. First of all, looks nuts. Looks fucking amazing. That's what kind of sold it. It's like this classic Zelda, but in like 3D isometric, gorgeous shaders as like your cute little fox. And it does not just like it doesn't not like a one trick thing. There's loads of different environments and elements, loads of cool areas that like always impress you and always kind of look very, 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 very good. Second element is this really cool mechanic of the game manual, which is, you start off with not understanding what any of the words mean, like your inventory, everything is all in this kind of alien language, and as you progress, you pick up pages of this game's manual, which is like an old style, like Japanese, like 90s game manual that you flick through.
Yeah.
Which shows not only like what all the words mean, but it shows like elements of the map, but not even like the bit you're on, like the bit you're going to get to in fucking 5 hours, but because you're getting it disjointedly. So you're learning about enemies in these different things, which is like so fucking cool. Like an absolutely mental cool thing. And in general, the game itself is like, oh yeah, and it's like a Zelda thing, right? So you hit the enemies, there's chests, you're going through little dungeons, and some enemy designs are kind of cool, but like generally the Zelda gameplay stuff was the thing that let it down. I think it's kind of a style over substance game in my opinion. And well, it looks great. Like I kept running into the same sort of enemies that are kind of more frustrating to go against than anything. I actually didn't like the demo when it came out. I think I was like disappointed by it. It's an improvement of it for sure. I think we just didn't really have the enemies and the combat locked in when they made that demo, and I still think it's kind of the second thought about thing in the game. But I think it's a marvelous looking and one of the best mechanics of the year. I think is the game manual thing.
I like the manual page for rolling. I think the wee animation, the wee cartoon of the fox rolling is very funny. Yeah, like him just fucking himself forward, like he's fucking.
It's a great manual. Like I kind of want to buy that manual and just kind of have it.
They sent the manual to like some US press. Yeah,
God.
I want one of those, but no, I don't think it makes the 10. It makes like my top. It makes it might probably maybe the bottom of my list somewhere, but it makes my top 20, but it won't be in the top 10.
Okay.
Rip.
Good on you, Danny. I love it when it's not me that kills these off.
Danny's the villain. Everyone thinks Jordan's the villain of this podcast. It's always been Danny. It's never not been Danny.
Harry.
Okay. Fucking FIFA 23. We're not putting that up there. I'm sorry, mate.
It's a good game. Football.
I'm sure it is, mate.
Yeah.
I played some actually last week.
Oh yeah.
Big fucking bloke you. Yeah, FIFA 23 is It's the best FIFA in ages.
Best one yet.
As you'd be surprised. No, FIFA.
Wait till next year.
You know this. I usually fucking hate FIFA, despite playing like 600 hours of it. I still
600
like
hours
this FIFA. Yeah, that's conservative. I still like this FIFA. They've not ruined it yet. They've not changed the balance in some way that completely like ruins my life. So yeah, FIFA 23 is a good one. Next year though, you're in trouble because this is the last FIFA. Next year it's EAFC, and they're genuinely good. There is a chance that this is like they could. It might still be the exact same thing, just with different skins, but they have a chance, and that's exciting. But yes, FIFA 23, we hardly knew. Yeet!
Yeet!
It's me. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Multiverses. How the fuck's this still here?
This is a fun game.
This is just fucking lingering.
I
mean, it's alright, but
do we even talk about it? Like, nah. I feel like more of us have played it than Rumbleverses, but at least like one of us had a thing going on there. But like, we all know. Like, I think it's. You know, I'll talk about it briefly. Like, I think it was a cool game. Like, I like that it's doing the Smash thing and it's not just being held by Smash. I think they made an impressive thing with like doing the whole multi-IP versus thing, which is like always funny to have fucking Shaggy and Scooby-Doo fight LeBron James and all this stuff. But I don't really play Smash games, so I don't really like doing that stuff. So
doesn't have the votes. I also thought it was alright. I hope they go really wide with it and have the weirdest fucking Warner IP that they currently get fucking Joey from Friends in it. And
put
shit
Tenet
like that.
in there. I want that.
Yeah.
They'll go fucking backwards.
Okay, Multiverse is highlighted, deleted. Danny?
In the spirit of culling the wee boys, there's one that I don't want to get rid of it, but I don't think it's going to stay just on how much experience we have with it. And it's Case of the Golden Idol.
Yeah, that was a weird one that I was like, oh yeah, that could be on my top 10 list because it kind of snuck up on me and like I'm seeing it on every fucking other application's top 10 list. And I'm like, oh, other people liked that game and played that game. Yeah, but again, like only I played it. I think you guys would really like it if you did play it. And it's one of those. It's like fucking Obra Dinn again. Like I don't know what else to say. It's doing. It has this really cool 2D. It does the Obra Dinn thing, which is it's set in like the fucking 1800s, wherever the hell that time period is, with like a weird supernatural element. But it's like a detective game with proper detective crime scenes. Like Obra Dinn is like, sure, it's a detective game, but you're like an insurance broker. You're finding out how these people died. It's paperwork. This is like there's been a murder. You need to figure out who it is, who killed them. Like there's a mystery around every little different, unique level. And it has a really cool UI thing where you're just in these cool looking pixel environments where you're figuring out first what's going on. You're finding phrases and pictures and words and weapons and elements and all these tiny things. So you've got this jumble of words, and then you've got like figure out who this person is, who this person is, who this person is. Like and the general things of like how they died, when it happened, yada yada. But there's always like a third mystery thing that's fucking the coolest part of each level. An example is there's one really big level where you're in like this big manor and you go up between all the rooms and you can go in the safes and you go in people's rooms and their belongings and what's in their pockets. And there's so many elements that you pull out as you figure out because someone's been poisoned. And the wild card on this like flipped like flat UI screen is you have to figure out who was positioned on each seat at the table, who was eating what, because you have to figure out who poisoned who, which is like a completely unique mechanic, unique thing for that thing. And then the next level, it's like, oh cool, you've got a bunch of cultists in cloaks. What do all the cloaks correspond to in the organization of this company? Like, who are the leaders? Who are the mid-tier ones? What do the different masks mean? So you're going through and doing the work, figuring out from what initially is a completely unknown thing to like, I now understand what's going on completely just by like doing the detective work.
Right.
Very, very cool. I don't think it's going to make our top 10 mutually.
Okie doke. Harry has just killed the 20th game.
Just gonna say that, yeah. We're down
so
to...
I will once again read Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Ollie Ollie World, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Ghostwire Tokyo, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Citizen Sleeper, Neon White, Roller Drome, Power Wash Simulator, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, God of War Ragnarok, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Warzone 2, and Marvel Snap. It is my turn. Goodbye, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh my god, that made the top 20. Holy shit.
I should have kept Case the Golden Idol. There's a lot of shouters on here. That game is really good. I feel bad now.
Ghostwire Tokyo, beautiful world, amazing to walk around doing your Doctor Strange shit.
Yeah.
I think
Good
some
hands.
of the fucking design of the monsters,
Yeah.
fantastic. The gameplay's a bit shite. It's a bit fucking. It's not, the combat's not fun.
It's sort of just like,
Yeah, and it doesn't feel good to do that. Like, it's fun when you're like fucking wrapping people up and like snapping them apart. But it takes slightly too long, so it doesn't feel like you can do it quickly. Like it doesn't feel like you can just spin around and go like "Wata," and then and then fucking shoot them off the fucking building. But yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo probably city of the year in terms of like the fucking open world city is
I think the best
spectacular looking. But
best parts of the games are, I think, wandering around the weird parts of the city and finding these kind of weird side areas and enjoying, especially the rooftop
going
stuff
into
as well.
going out of the fucking shop and it's just like a floating Doug.
Yeah,
Love
totally.
that.
And the fact there's like a whole other side of the town where you go up to the top levels of the roofs and stuff like that. Cool.
Yeah, beautiful game, but the kind of stuff that I hope that I hope Xbox still lets Bethesda do, because that was a Tango Gameworks thing, which is under the id umbrella, and that is the kind of weird shit that it's like the Evil Within. It's not going to hit, but there should be 7 out of 10 games as well as amazing games, and that's an interesting one. Ghostwire Tokyo deleted, and that means it is Danny time. Does this fit on one page yet? Have we hit the?
It does.
It fits on one page.
For context, we have a Google Doc of our stuff.
Right. It's getting choppy now. It's getting a bit.
Getting a bit.
Let's do Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope, because I don't know where this will land because we haven't played it, have we, Harold?
Nah.
I think it's really
Looks cool.
good, but I don't think it. I don't think it lands either. It's like it's an improved version of the first game, but the movement in terms of how you can set about your characters is better. Super polished. There's tons to do. Ubisoft are clearly having they're like, we get to fucking do a Mario, so they put their entire fucking Ubusi into it, you know. So the game's really good. It's one of these things that it's like, it's a really good game, but it's almost boringly good. Like, it's like, yeah, it does all it's trying to do to the best of its abilities, but it never fucking punches through to a thing where everyone's talking about it. So yeah, it's a game that I would recommend to everyone, but I don't think it makes our top 10.
Yeah, it's a respectful call, I think.
Yeah. Harry?
Okay. Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Jordan is just eating his microphone.
Go on, England.
He's got... Go on, England.
Love that Kirby quote.
Oh, Kirby.
Yeah. Look, I didn't play that game. I wish I did, but I don't have fucking 50 quid to punt on a Kirby game, so I just like...
Get it for free, mate. That's what I did. Danny, what do you think of Kirby?
I liked Kirby. I like Kirby a lot as an IP, as a thing. Like, I think it's one of Nintendo's most undervalued properties of the last like 10 to 15 years. This is like the game that Kirby deserves, I think. This is like one to propel him into this era of games, because when you think of Kirby games prior to this, they're all like Jurassic fucking GBA games and shit. So I think this is really cool, and it's got the cool open world thing. It draws a lot from Mario Odyssey, which is obviously the best place to draw from. And the mechanics are really cool. It's cute as fuck. You can turn into fucking anything, and I had a really nice time playing it, but it just all felt a bit shallow. And I think in a way that was kind of the point of it. It's meant to be a very simple game that you can move through, but yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but I'm struggling to find things to fight for it to make the top 10, because it was just a very super polished, super nice, super enjoyable thing to play. You roll through different levels in a very linear fashion while you're also like slowly building up this hub and bringing like little creatures back to the hub, but there's nothing super granular about that. It's just like make enough to build this building and then it's done, and then you do that once you've done every building. That's kind of it. And it was a very nice experience, but Yeah, I'm not like super fucking let's get this on the top 10. It was just this game should have been made a while ago. It's been made now. Glad it exists. Had fun. Move on.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there's a glaring flaw where in the co-op in that game, if you're playing co-op, the other person plays his fucking Waddle Dee and he can't do any of the mouthful mode shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's fundamentally flawed. So yeah,
Well
Kirby
put.
in the Forgotten Land. I'm a critic, mate. Highlight it and delete it. Okay.
Respectful.
It is me. It is me. I'm surprised that Rollerdrome is still on here.
Yeah.
Is anyone dying for that? Like,
See,
I thought that might be a Mitchell.
I thought I liked it the least. Did you played it, didn't you, Danny?
I did, yeah. I played it quite recently. It was one of those ones where I had to tick it off just for like posterity, and I played like an hour of it. And I think it's really nice. I think it's got very satisfying like skating movements. It felt nice to zoot around in. It had like the Tony Hawk vibe, but it kind of built on that a little bit because you're skating and you don't have a board. You've got like full body movements. I thought the gunplay was really cool. It got a little bit convoluted for me at times, but I think like actually shooting things, it had like nice thwunky kind of satisfying gun noises, and it
does have the thwunk.
It does. That's the best way to describe it. Like the dodging and the slow-mo hits were really cool. It felt satisfying to play. I thought the art style was very cute, which is completely mental to me because I said that last year that it looks the same as Sable, and I was like, I don't really get it, but yeah, I thought it was.
It's just, to quote you, it's just blocks.
Oh, I was on some shit last year. But yeah, it was nice. I had a nice time with it. I thought it was really cool at what it does. But I think there's indies on here that I would prefer to fight harder for than Rollerdrome.
I should love this game. I should capital L love this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it does like really cool design stuff, really cool UI stuff. It has a really cool world to it, like a cool vibe and a tone to it. I just think I don't like Tony Hawk's like third-person skating stuff. That's never been a super fun thing for me. And I had fun with the shooting thing and the mix of that. But when it genuinely I did, but when it got to progress, you have to do these sub-objectives. Like you have to like kill these amount of things. You have to like blow up these things. You have to break through these kind of things. I didn't really want to do any of that stuff. I really wish the game just let you sort of coast through it very casually, because I would have enjoyed the game a bit more if I did that, rather than having to like go back and sort of like grind these certain things. Yeah, love the way it looks. Like I thought it was cool, but I just didn't quite click with playing it that sort of way and how it progressed in that manner.
Okay.
All right.
Highlighted, deleted. Danny.
I thought, oh god, I'm losing it. I thought I picked Rollerdrome. Fucking hell. Oh god.
I threw it to you first. So.
Let's stay on that. Let's do Ollie World because that's crept in, and I.
The head shaking.
I think it's really cool. In the same for a lot of the reasons I liked Rollerdrome. I think it's really cool, but if we only have a certain amount of positions on this list, just to keep it short, I don't think I would bat for this one as hard as some of the others on this list.
There is plenty of us on this list that I know you would bat for less. Like, this game is fucking the Roll 7 masterpiece that Rollerdrome is not.
Yeah, it's a Roll 7 out of 10.
It's a Roll 7 out of 10. Ollie World is fucking incredible. Like, the way... First of all, how do I break this down? Number one thing is the way this game looks is fucking amazing. Like, the fact that everything you look at in this game is like a visual treat of like fucking Adventure Time style, like eye candy of the way everything looks together. It's like, it's such an attractive and charming and like warming world to be in. The skating is so satisfying. Like, I played Ollie 2 and I really like that 2D skating style. Like, the way that game, as it progresses through the entire game, kind of expands and adds on different things to the point where you have like very simple objectives compared to what I don't like about Overlode. There's very simple objectives in Ollie World that make it more like side quests. Like there are ways that the track splits off, and there are like crazier, more difficult routes to go down. There's certain tricks that you have to do above things, and it's very satisfying to complete all those things and try and do those things at once. Like, again, a game you can coast through and you can replay and get so much enjoyment out of those levels one after the other. It's really satisfying to be able to chain through things together, like get those combos that are satisfying in escape games that you guys like. Like, something about this was so much more fun for me. The story of it is so fucking charming. Like the idea of nirvana and all these kind of spiritual beings that you're trying to fight against, all these kind of, the way it spices up and throws in these different kind of levels where you're fighting with fucking aliens, you're chasing people down, and you're bumping into these kind of like these kooky characters as you go forward. It just makes you like really sink into the world. And what also pairs with it is how fucking great the UI is in this game, how bubbly all that stuff is, and how great the fucking music is. Like, how much that soundtrack absolutely just takes you to that fucking world. I think that is absolutely one of the best games this year. I think it deserves a clear spot compared to other games in this list.
Okay.
I respect the try, Danny, but I think we'll have to go again. We'll have to try and take his legs out from behind him.
I've taken up a lot of my favorite games this year, folks.
I respect it.
Because you like shit games.
I respect it. I think a lot of the points that you made there are absolutely valid. I'm looking at what we've got left, and I can see the ones that are definitely coming in. I can see the ones we're gonna have to fight for, and I can see the ones where it's going to be one or the other. And if it's between like Ollie Ollie World and one of those, I'm like, it's gonna punt. But we
keep it in your back pocket, Danny.
Let's just
fight
work
will
through
go
it.
on.
Let's just work through it.
All right.
Hardy.
Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns is brilliant. It's the top 10 game of this year. It's Firaxis genius at its very fucking best, and it happens to have like a Persona tier fucking relationship builder attached to it out of nowhere. If the gameplay in Midnight Suns was all that it was, and you just went back to the house and that was it, I would probably fight for it. I would still be fighting for it at this stage, but I think all of the story stuff, all of the character stuff, pushes it way beyond. Like, it is I fucking knew when I fucking played this in March that this is going to be a game that came out and got banging reviews, because when they did a terrible job of explaining what it is, but when you actually get into it, it is so much fucking fun, and it's so deep in terms of like the character development, and how, you know how in a Fallout game, if you're not paying attention, you can still pick all the right choices because you're like, they probably want me to say the nice thing. In Midnight Suns, you actually have to like read and understand what these characters, how they would want you to respond. So there's a character who is a good guy, but they want you in this situation because of the way they feel about another character in the house to respond like down the evil path, and that will increase your friendship with them. It's super interestingly done, and it's a game that didn't need all of that stuff to be brilliant, but that for me is what pushed it. I think it's a tremendous game, Midnight Suns, and I wish more people had like the 90 hours to complete it, 'cause it's long as fuck as well. But yeah, I love Midnight Suns. Have either of you two juked in yet?
Unfortunately not.
No, I haven't.
I don't even know where you play it. Is it on PS5?
You have access to it if you wanted.
Okay, well, see but unfortunately I've not spotted my travels, and I didn't play XCOM or the Firaxis games before that, so I really very little frame of reference here, but it sounds cool. I like strategy games.
Yeah. I mean, Firaxis do fucking XCOM and Civ. Those are the fucking strategy boyos.
Yeah. This is a rough one because it came out so late, and I got code like a day ago, so I haven't had a chance to. But based on vibes, I think it's going to be a banger, and I think it's going to be for me like the Guardians of the Galaxy of this year, where I kind of was expecting like a mid Marvel game, but it's just going to be great. I think that's kind of the vibe I've got with it.
See all the good character bits in Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a fucking trillion of those in Midnight Suns with a more interesting cast of characters, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that definitely. I would fight for that as a top 10.
Okay.
I think that's me. Right.
Oh,
Power Wash Simulator, come
I
on.
knew that was
the
coming.
Stray and Cult of the Lamb fans are fucking fuming to discover that Power Wash Simulator has been on this list the entire time, and none of us have batted a fucking eye until now. We're looking at it, we're like, come on.
It's the game equivalent of like a satisfying TikTok. Like, come on now.
Power Wash Simulator, fun. I played it on stream for about like an hour, 2
Yeah.
hours. You know, you power wash, like, it's a very well made Power Wash Simulator. I mean, I would go as far as say the best Power Wash Simulating game there is.
Yeah, if this was the Power Wash Simulator game of the year, it would absolutely nail
It'd
it.
be in
but-
top 10 for sure.
Yeah. But come on now.
It's got to go,
Yeah.
hasn't it? If I'm going to
It's
be
not
like,
gonna make the 10.
Ollie World, but Power Wash Simulator, like, I'm not having that argument.
We're about to, there's going to be difficult discussions soon, and Power Wash Simulator can't just sit there and laugh at us while they happen.
Yeah, it's got to bounce. It's got to go.
Highlight and delete.
How many are we at now?
Yeah, I was just
One,
about to
two,
say.
three,
So we're
Is that, are we 1 off 15?
so 16, as most people call that.
Right.
We're going to have to relitigate some of these judges' houses ones now, because I think we've talked about everything.
Whose turn
that
is it?
isn't going it's Danny.
All right. Let's do Citizen Sleeper.
No. There's
We have to, like, there's.
Warzone 2 is there! When the fuck do we give a fuck about Warzone 2?
You've got a turn, Harry. You are yelling.
And yours are fucking daft, mate.
She said that.
We're on the same side. Why do you keep coming at me about Citizen Sleeper and arguing with me and getting all up in my face about Citizen Sleeper? We are on the same side. We have to work
I know we
together
are, so
to
I don't
fight
know
for
why you're
this.
picking it to try and
We
in a
have
debate when there's
to
obviouser
talk
choices to cull.
Obvious or
If
good
we're,
word.
if we're going to be talking about it in the next section, why not just talk about one of the ones that we know are weaker picks than ones
Come
that
on,
are like
we're
my
not going to be talking about
my
Citizen
top
Sleeper in the
two.
next section. Come on now.
All right. We have to present this argument. We have to bring him down.
Well, but like, there's 2 of us, and we both love that game, and like, fucking Marvel Snap's still here. Like, why? I don't understand why we're
Harry,
putting
she
energy
said
into
it.
it now.
The rules are the rules. Defend it. This is not Elden Ring.
I just don't have to
Defend
repeat
it.
myself like 5 fucking times. Okay, Citizen Sleeper. Citizen Sleeper is, for those that haven't played it, it's by the developer of In Other Waters, which is like a top-down, cool fucking alien planet game that was like a kind of a marvel in sort of how it looked and being kind of experimental. Citizen Sleeper is a marvel in a lot of different fucking ways. So you are a person that's basically given up their body and implanted their brain or their consciousness in a robot, which are kind of frowned upon in this world, and you are shipped and landed on this space station. And by space station, I mean like a fucking massive one that's like a city. And you wake up and some guy takes pity on you and gives you a job. And the start of the game is you're mostly like top down, traversing the space station, and every day you get a certain amount of things that you can do, and a certain amount of things that might be successful or unsuccessful. They do this using dice, but it can really be used in a lot of ways. Like, so you can get a 4, a 2, and a 1 or whatever. 4 means you've got 100% probability that this thing's going to be a success. So let's say I go up and I want to try and I want to try and do some factory work for the day, because I'll get to that a bit later. That means I can slot that in. But now if I want to go and try and like gamble for some money, that probability is not going to be up so high. If I want to have a conversation and I want to like convince them of something, I've used my coins for the day and I might fuck it up. It is a game about deadlines. One that when you're landed, you immediately realize that you're being hunted down by something called the Hunter, which is like this seemingly AI that seems to be able to track you down. You've got a trace on you, and like you're being hunted down to be killed. So that's deadline. So it tells you like at a certain amount of time, this thing's going to reach you. You have to figure out somehow from this time in 30 days time to get this trace off you, to figure out how to get off this space station. So that's lingering. You've also got a deadline for this. There's a shipment arriving in 3 days. Like, you need to try and get that. You need to try and unlock a way to get into that, to get abilities, to get things for that. So that's one element mechanically of the game, is you're moving around these things, you're trying to learn about this space station, learn about how to save yourself and what you're doing and how to do things. The other element is the characters of Citizen Sleeper, which are like so fucking well written. Like every character you bump into on all elements of the space station are so like fleshed out. They have these gorgeous character art, and when you talk to them, like everyone meets you with a certain kind of disdain, but as you kind of grow the relationship, there's a trust there, you gain different friends. But again, what's interesting about the game is like it's very much what you have time for. It's like I write about it on the site, but like a lot of it is very much a metaphor for like how we fucking live our lives. You only have so many hours in the day and so much energy to put into certain things. So your playthrough of Citizen Sleeper will be very different from my playthrough of Citizen Sleeper, because you only have time to talk to or get an interaction from this person, do your day job of this thing, and go and solve this mystery over on the other side of the space station for this thing. And if you want to go, oh, but I want to talk to this person, like, you don't have time. You've got like fucking 10 days left. Like, you have to pick your battles. And meanwhile, your body is falling apart. So because you're a robot, you have to go and try and like make sure you're not going to die. And of course, it's a dystopian sci-fi space station, so like you have to try and pay fucking money to try and make sure you don't die. So you've got to try and make sure you don't risk your life, because if you, say, put a risky die in on your day job, you could hurt yourself. And hurting yourself isn't a fucking thing. It's like a serious thing. You have medical bills. Like, it's a very real, like, thing for how fucking brutal life can be. And so as that goes on, that's the first half of the top-down thing. The second half of what I love about the way the UI works is that there's also like an AI half to the game. Because if you picture it and you see screenshots of the game, you see that there's a space station that you're traversing. Yeah. And you're seeing the character, you're chatting to folk, and you're kind of slotting your dice and whatever. There's also like a flip side to this ship, which is the secret kind of undercurrent of the digital thing. Because you're a robot, you can kind of plug into the digital world of this space station and talk to the AI. And what I love about Citizen Sleeper so fucking much is like they do AI in a way that I've never seen before in sci-fi. It's like they aren't kind of, oh, they're just like human beings, but they also aren't robots. They're treated like they're kind of spiritual animals. Like they're these weird like spectral entities. And there's a part in the game where you bump into like a vending machine who has this very powerful AI that's had to take refuge inside it because a similar hunter that's hunting you down is hunting this thing down. So you have to work together to basically like have this bizarre like action sequence where you try and fight these different spectral AI things, which is one half of the game. And generally, as you're going forward, you're unlocking parts of the space station, and you're working with these different threads of narratives that you yourself are choosing because you're interested in it. Like there's certain elements, like I bumped into like an engineer that was like at the top is like trying to figure out how to start his own business, and he's like, "Do you want to be my business partner?" And that really interested me. I was like, that sounds really fun to start like business with this random fucking person. Or you might go to the back where there's someone who's like growing plants for the first time and like discovering these seeds and like creating an ecosystem. And if that's your sort of thing, you can spend your game doing that. But there's elements of the game that I have no idea what it's like. There are apartment buildings and apartment blocks you can go to where they'll say, if you spend proper time here, if you spend one of your precious slots coming here and talking to these folk, and they trust you, you could get like the key to the puzzle somewhere else. They could give you a really useful thing, but you have to risk it. You have to spend your fucking time. So it's like an incredibly cool sci-fi story with incredibly cool characters. B, a very cool mechanical kind of like commentary on like human life and how fucking depressing capitalism is, which is like a lot of what that kind of thing is. And be like a cool extra thing of how they design, what they think about AI and what they think about what kind of digital is and how it's kind of almost religious in a certain way. And yeah, that's why I think Citizen Sleeper was easily one of the best games of the year. Your mic is muted.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes. So highlight and delete. Okay, my pick is...
I was fucking drinking, you cunt.
Nah, I get that. That it certainly goes on to fight another day. Harry.
Let me see here.
If you don't pick Warzone 2 after that little fucking.
Well, it's Warzone 2. It's Warzone 2 or Marvel Snap.
It
Those
is,
are the two things we have here that I'm looking at that like I feel like are on the chopping block, and I think we could maybe go back to Marvel Snap and go. I don't think it's as enjoyable as some of the other things that we're talking about here, or as interesting things to talk about.
That's fair.
I like to root for it because I think it's like a cool thing to bat for, but everyone likes that game. It's not like we're, gonna fight for some underdog hero, and I didn't play a huge amount of it, but I think it's cool.
So what's your pick, Marvel Snap?
Marvel Snap.
Yeah, that's fine. My pick's Warzone 2. Warzone 2 is brilliant. It's just unfortunate that Warzone is one of the best games ever made. 2020 Warzone, undefeated. 97 Bulls shout out. 3 wins in one night. 3 wins in a row. No one ever forget that. No one ever fucking forget that. 3 wins in a row.
How many?
3.
What's the tailbook under? It's a joke that no one will get.
Shout out Raj McPherson. Warzone 2, it breaks Warzone in some ways. Like the waypoint system's way worse, but it runs properly, just about.
Great.
You can play as Messi, which is a huge amount of points for that. And the shooting's so good, man. The winning Warzone is better than anything else in this list. But
what was the thing? Oh yeah, the fucking voice proximity thing. That sounds that's
okay,
such a.
I mean, Prox Chat might actually push this because Prox Chat's the. I wish it worked better. It works way better on PC than it does on PlayStation. Because on PlayStation, you'll hear someone fucking talking to their ma. Like, no, I don't want fucking turkey dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then you try to talk to them, and they like clam up and shit themselves. So what are they talking to? It just becomes like, hello, you talking to me? And then it just fucking echoes cacophonously.
Endless fucking like just content to enjoy from people fucking screwing their heads off at other people want to do. He'll tell you what. You can keep Warzone 2 if you get rid of Metal Hellsinger.
Oh, every day of the week.
Oh, that's rough.
Every day of the week.
That's rough.
So just have some northern noises. I mean, to be honest, I nominated Warzone expecting Metal to go next. So
that's it's rough, but
I'm happy for Call of Duty to get into somewhere. I'm a big Call of Duty fan. I think I'm just shite at Warzone. I think that's the reason I don't like Warzone 2. I'm just bad at it.
I'm not like Warzone is cool, but I'm not seeing like any super.
For the record, I think the first Warzone is way better than Warzone 2, so that kind of defeats it.
Okay, it doesn't sound like there's like a huge writing on it.
Yeah, I think Warzone's great, but like Warzone 2, I'm not seeing any big sort of compelling argument of this is iterated on Warzone 1 in like the best way possible, and it's like
I know, but I feel like Metal Hellsinger is a lot of. I'm hearing a lot of like, it's good. I don't really want to get rid of it. Whereas like if one person's like fucking Warzone 2, but it seems like Jordan wants to get rid of Warzone 2. So if that's the fucking case,
Hellsinger's very good. It's for me, it's not like an it's good. It's an incredible experience for what it like. It's a bit short and a bit like diluted, but it's incredible at what it's doing. Like I can't be like I wish there was more. I wish there was more. Is like the ultimate compliment to it.
And it sounds like we want to get rid of Warzone 2.
Yeah, let's send Warzone away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The 12 are Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Ollie World, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Lego Star. I've fucking tripped over that one every time. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Citizen Sleeper, Neon White, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, God of War Ragnarok, Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Where's Loot River?
It's wider than the moon. Okay, some difficult conversations coming up now. I mean, not for me personally, because I know how I would go with this.
There's 2 to call, so I think we're over the picking.
Whose turn is it? Is Jordan went for
yeah, I think as Danny just said, I think we have the chats now because
we haven't talked about Vampire Survivors yet. Because I didn't say this, but I'm not like a huge fan of that game.
Oh, you sound so shit at it.
No, but like I didn't even get far enough into it to like be shit at it. Like I think I understood what it was going for, And like, I understood this game, you play and play again, and as it builds up, it gets fucking crazier and crazier, and you have to try and like learn how to deal with how crazy and crazier it gets. But like that.
Okay, let's have the chat, because I've played fucking loads of this. Vampire Survivors, if you've not played it, because people have talked about this game a lot, and I think people get the wrong idea of what it actually is. It's an idle RPG essentially. Like it's a pixelated. You pick a character that attacks for you, and enemies swarm towards you in like a horde mode kind of way. It's like top down. As you kill enemies, you get experience, and every level you go up, you get a new ability. That might be a new weapon, or a new area of effect, or a new buff. And the first couple of times you play it, you're like, "Oh, this is fun." It's like Cookie Clicker the RPG, but each time you kind of leave a level, you can earn characters to start as. So certain characters will have certain weapons already, or have certain abilities. See, when you get the guy that has the garlic ability, which just does passive damage, and you don't even have to wait for your character attack, you can just run through, the game fucking explodes, because there's so much fucking... These levels are massive, and most people don't get to see them because they die so quickly. But what are you doing, Harry? That is a style guide. You Marvel's Midnight Sun should be all caps.
It's annoying me. Continue, please.
Yeah, I think the gameplay is like, it's so fucking it's the Steam Deck game of the year. Not only because it's basically the only thing I fucking played on it.
I feel like this and Steam Deck are kind of being co-nominated here. Like, it's always kind of a way to talk about how cool the Steam Deck is.
Yeah, I just think it's great. Like, it's so enjoyable, and there's so many emergent moments of like, okay, I got into this new room with like no health, but I leveled up at the exact right time that just pushed the enemies back enough for me to get the health to keep going. Like, it all kind of it snowballs, and at the end of a run, the like flights have disappeared from me playing fucking Vampire Survivors. I'll fucking look up and they're like ready to land. Like, it's deceptively deep. The soundtrack's fucking banging. It was like £2 when it came out.
Yeah, and they were like, I love the Vampire Survivors devs. Fucking Poncle, I don't know how to say. Fucking great. They've also got great like fucking. They've hired good like PR and publicity people because it's kind of home run. What I love is like, we're raising the price from £3 to £5, and everyone's like, cool, fuck it, as you should have. Why was it £3 in the first place?
And it's on Game Pass already. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you played much of it, Danny?
I played a chunk of it, yeah, and I was surprised because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the style of game that it was. So when I booted it up and it's like this little fucking pixel roguelike, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I zooted through it, and I think I like it because so many elements are like out of your control, but also they kind of are. Like, you don't do the combat, you just have to, zoot about, and I found that really compelling. I can't say anything about it more intelligently than like you or Harry have said, because it is just like just moreish. It's just moreish, and there's a depth to it that I haven't discovered yet, but I know that it's there from talking to other people about it. And it's a game that you can just sit and repeat over and over again for hours, or you can just play for like 15-20 minutes and you've done a run, and that's satisfying as well. But yeah, I think it's really surprised me. It's my big surprise of the year in a good way, that I wasn't expecting what it was. I bought it because it was cheap. If it was anything over like £8, I wouldn't have touched it. But because it was cheap, because it was accessible, because people were going on about it, I picked it up, and it's Phil
Spencer's game of the year, by the way.
Actually, like, we never really talk about value for money on these kind of lists. No, but like, it's kind of sometimes an important element to think of, especially when games are perhaps overpriced as fuck for something too basic, but for a bunch of press wanks get it all for free.
They wanted fucking £60 for Saints Row.
And they deserved it, every fucking penny. Let's pay it again.
It's a little bit different, but I think here it was the difference between a game being on the top 10 and us talking about it based on its price. Because if this was like a Mario Rabbids beat, we might not have touched it. But because it was accessible, not just to buy but to play as well, it was. I think it's a triumph. To be fair, I think it's staying.
It's compelling. I wasn't really like. I didn't find myself getting addicted into that. I want to play again, loop it again. I was like, I'm gonna have to like rank up all this stuff over and over and over again and go to things like that, and that didn't really impress me very much. But like, I'm very compelled by like this simple thing that's been made so deep and in that kind of
the way people
style,
talk about
old
it, you'd
school
think
style.
it was like a fucking $1 billion quadruple A RPG, and then you get into it, and it's just this wee fucking.
That's
No,
what I
it's the kind of
thought.
thing I would download on Game Jolt like in like fucking 2013.
The soundtrack goes fucking hard though. I just need to say that. Like it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Okay. Do you think it would be helpful to move some of these games into the guarantees?
Well, now we're talking about the guy. Well, can
I think we
can I
know.
get a vibe check on Horizon Forbidden West?
It's on the top 10, not very high, is my vibe.
Because I really like that game, and yeah, but I remember something you said about that being like knocked really far down. I was quite surprised because I remember earlier on this year that was really high up on your list. But I think it's like, yeah, it doesn't quite, maybe not top 5, but I like, okay, just to check in on that. I think the lock-ins are Elden Ring, Neon
God
White,
of War.
God of War. For me, I'm going to try and lock in Citizen Sleeper's Nuts for now, at least. Like that's one I'm going to fight for the most. I think the ones that are in flux are probably not the Pokemon. Pokemon is more about ranking. I feel like you guys are going to try and fight for both those to get in, but maybe that's a conversation. I doubt either of you are going to let one of the Pokemon games lose.
Okay, so I'm really enjoying Pokemon Violet. I think it personally for me, it's the most compelling Pokemon to keep playing because I'm historically not a huge fan of the games, and I played Let's Go and I played Sword and Shield and I got through both of them, and then I just bounced off completely off of Arceus for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. But like I've been loving Scarlet just because it's Violet, not Scarlet, by how it's presented, but there's so many things in there that I think are pish, but they're very ignorable. Like the school thing, I get that it's a cool hub that you can go to occasionally, but like
with the characters that like animate like this.
Yeah.
Welcome to school.
but like I thought it was gonna have like a Persona beat.
We make more money than any company.
Where you could like wander around the school and talk to people, and maybe there'd be bits and pieces to do in the school. That's how it was kind of pitched. But you get there, and all you do is like click, like spam A through some fucking lessons that you don't need to pay attention to, and you come back and you take classes every so often, like after you've beaten a gym or whatever. Like, but there's no reason to go to the school apart from just pop back and do the lessons, and there's no consequence to them really. Like, it's really weird, or at least like so far in my playthrough, there's been no consequence to them, and I just sort of like
there is none.
No, it's just like a cool thing that you can go and do, but like, there's no point. You could just fully ignore it. And I think when they were pitching it like, oh, it's set in a school and you can do things in the school, I thought there would be more to it, but you can't even explore it. It's just you just travel there and you go in a room and then you back out. It's shit. That particular part of it is shit, but I like how open the map is. I like that you can basically go anywhere. I like that there's lots of little crannies and shit to explore. I like that there's Pokestops and like the little centers everywhere where you can just kind of go to if you're kind of fucked up, or you can just quick travel to.
They streamlined that a lot.
Yeah.
They just, instead, like putting the Pokemons, it's been this way for a while with the Pokemon Center and the Mart being the same place, but having those just out in the wild as opposed to having to go into town, go into a shop and all that pish. Look, I love Scarlet and Violet, not just because of the absolute ridiculous amounts of money it's made VGC, but I just think that if we think about a game that set out to do something with Pokemon in an interesting way, both Arceus and Violet did this. However, I think Arceus is much more successful in its mission, whereas the things that Scarlet and Violet were trying to do aren't the most interesting parts of it. I think in Arceus specifically, the idea that it's all about catching Pokemon, the idea that you can catch Pokemon without even going into a battle, is about kind of building up the research of these of the Pokedex.
Yeah.
And I think that the things I love the most in Scarlet and Violet was that hunting of the Pokemon, but that's not really what, like, Scarlet and Violet is like, so they've got the 18 things you need to do, as in the 8 gyms, the fucking the Titans and the team star bases. I thought the team star bases were a huge fucking disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, these team star bases are you run alongside 3 of your Pokemon that you throw out and they do the auto battling for you. But it's the same thing every time.
Is, yeah.
It's just like it's so thin, and then it's a battle against like a big fucking truck. And I thought the Titan Pokemon were going to be way more interesting. Like the cloth one is quite funny. That there's all these wee fucking crabs, and you turn around and it's the size of a building. And there's another one that's kind of interesting in terms of it's called like the false dragon or whatever. You're looking for one Pokemon and it turns out to be this other thing. That's all cool. And I like there's a few objectives that they don't tell you specifically what you're meant to do. You need to read the entries, you need to speak to the characters and stuff like that. But I think in terms of what the changes that were made to the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet formula, e.g., this isn't technically a change because it was in a few other games, but Pokemon in the overworld, that has to be the thing forever. They can never go back to random battles because it's Pokemon in the overworld is the reason that shiny hunting is so fucking good now. But
not even fucking shiny.
Pokemon Legends Arceus had that. Pokemon Legends Arceus looks way better.
No, you
like
can have
they
that,
actually they worked within the confines of the Switch to make like a stylized world. Like it still runs poorly, but the art is nice, whereas the art in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is fucking awful. And yeah, for me, like I think Pokemon Legends Arceus is a far superior game. As much as I really like Scarlet and Violet, it's not like the Diamond and Pearl remakes where I was like super disappointed with them. Still played loads of them because it's fucking Pokemon, but Pokemon Legends Arceus is a legit, like, if there weren't for two games that are two of the best games to ever have been made, like Pokemon Legends Arceus is a fucking topper for me.
You're right. It's a respectful argument. I know that I'm personally enjoying Violet more than I did Arceus, but like there's so much that lets it down that stops me really, really battling for it over Arceus because I appreciate what Arceus did, even though I didn't fully get on board with it when it came out. And it's what we were sold on doesn't really align with what the game gave us, like the school stuff and the immersive like role-playing kind of vibe that it gave. Like it's not a role-playing game. There's no element of character evolution or meeting people or building relationships with anyone. It's just you're doing the gyms, you're doing the bases, you're doing the Titans, and you're just ticking them off as you go. And I think what's making it really compelling for me is how they've streamlined the grind, like with the auto battles and the shiny hunting. It's made like it's the first Pokemon game to me that feels doable. Like, because I've never bothered to fill a dex because I can't be asked to keep doing that over and over again after I finished a game. But now it's like it feels doable to me in the time frame that I have with the game and with the campaign and the stuff to do. And I think that's what's keeping me in it. But it is just another Pokemon game following that formula, which really weakens it. And they didn't deliver on the stuff that they promised would be new.
As like the person that doesn't fucking play Pokemon but has to just sort of try and be a neutral party, I'm just not seeing enough arguments from Scarlet and Violet, whereas like I quite enjoy the arguments for Arceus, and I always kind of have since I've been talking about it. Like it's the only Pokemon game I've been tempted to buy. Actually, I played Pokemon Sun and Moon actually, but I didn't fucking like it because I was like, I still don't enjoy this. But I just can't handle both of these games on this list. If like it sounds like you both love playing it, but like there's just too much fucking shit caked into the sides around this thing to like compare it to Arceus.
Yeah.
That has something more kind of grand going for it.
I would be disappointed to see a game that does what it does really well, even if it's not as all-encompassing as it could be booted out for something that is fun for me to play, but doesn't deliver on the places that I want it to deliver.
Yeah. And also, to reframe this, I don't think this is an either or. Like, I think Arceus is better than every game that is still on that top section. Like, this is not me being like, oh, we could chuck out Arceus maybe. Like, there is fire in my belly for Arceus that is yet to arrive. Like, I think... So, Hellsinger, Scarlet Violet, and Lego, 2 of those are going, it seems, and then we walk away. Is that the vibe? Am I misjudging that? Does that seem like where we are?
I think you're right. I would see Scarlet and Violet going because I can't fight for it over some better games. Like I like it, but I can't just ignore the flaws because I like a thing. And I think Arceus did a better job of being the game that it was trying to be and bringing something unique. It's why I batted so hard for Snap last year, because it did something different with the universe.
Yeah.
And I've been a big advocate of like do something different that isn't do the fucking gyms, and Scarlet and Violet is just doing the fucking gyms. Sometimes you go and learn about the mechanics of the game that it doesn't tell you in a class. It's just it's not strong enough.
Well, here's the thing. What do you like more, Pokemon or Metal Hellsinger?
I've played. This is difficult because I've played way more of Pokemon, but that's because there's way more Pokemon to play. I had my time with Metal Hellsinger because it was a short game, and I really enjoyed that pocket that I played. But it's not like I'm going back to like play it over and over again, like Pokemon.
Can I offer you? Will I offer you this poison pill then? Metal Hellsinger comes off, Lego comes off, we shake hands.
What? And we keep both Pokemons?
Yes. Now we're talking.
I don't like that. I wouldn't fight that hard for it to keep it on the list.
Clown.
Also, I like Metal Hellsinger more than I would bat for any Pokemon fucking game. So
yeah,
that's fine, mate. That should all have branch burned then. Every man for themselves.
I want games for Danny to bat for here. I don't want to fucking.
There's way cooler games here, and I don't think that we need two Pokemons. Harry hasn't played them. I'm personally enjoying Violet, but it's not strong enough to outplay some really good fucking games.
That's fine. It's two of these three. I'm just like.
I think it's Star Wars and Hellsinger that's the real fight here to stay on top. Unless we fuck off Elden Ring.
Oh,
Did anyone really like Elden Ring? You know, when you really sit down and you think about it.
Yeah, they think about the map UI.
I'd like to shout out my Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton.
Fuck, I can't believe having the weekly pods. We didn't even talk about that.
Nah, we didn't.
What a mental time to be alive.
He's actually here to present the award.
Yeah.
When we get done to him.
Right.
Okay, the list as it stands for folk listening along at home, we have one game to cut. The list in no particular order is Pokemon Legends Arceus, Lego Skywalker, the Star Wars Saga, fucked it again, Citizen Sleeper, Neon White, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Elden Ring, Neon White, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, and which is Ollie Ollie World abbreviated.
So how many is that?
We need to cut one.
Cut one.
Cut one game. Citizen Sleeper. Citizen Shaito.
My thinking is like, what are the games that some of us like didn't like as much, and what are the games that like some of us actually had problems with? Because like with Star Wars, me and Danny both have problems with that game that like made us not love it. Whereas like there are games that like Ollie Ollie World that I fucking love to pieces, but you guys are like, yeah, I don't have any problems with it, really. But like, you clearly didn't like it as much as I did.
Ollie Ollie World was kind of like a diluted Button City for me, in that I liked what it did really well. It just sort of didn't hit in like a Game of the Year vibe, you know?
Yeah. I don't see what you saw in Ollie Ollie World personally. I don't know.
And there's Marvel's Midnight Suns, which like is really much, I think Jordan's putting that through because me and Danny have zero frame of reference to talk about it, because
I think Midnight Suns is way better than Vampire and Lego, to be honest. I think that's kind of would be
because it is a mutual list, and like we do go on arguments and what things, but when one of us has played it and the other is just have no fucking reference to it, there's a lot of games like that on this list that have been cut for that reason. Like,
which is why we should cut Citizen Sleeper. Because me and Danny haven't touched it.
Danny has touched it.
Is that one of my games of the year? You mental head.
She loves that game.
Alright, it was just because you talked for 40 minutes and she never said the word. I didn't realise.
She was just passing the mic to me. She knew she knew I had a fucking buttload to rant on about it.
Did a fucking op-ed on it.
I did. It's good. It's a good article. Read it on Overlode.co.uk. So, Jordan, it's a good. So if you want to keep that game that the two out of the three just have fucking nothing on, and you want to put it above these other games that you want to keep on.
Yeah, which is why we take off Metal Hellsinger and call it a day.
Yeah, but Danny really likes Metal Hellsinger.
I do.
And me and Danny don't like Lego Star Wars very much.
It's real sad. It's real sad because
I'm honestly coin flippy. Like, I love Lego Star Wars, but it doesn't have the votes. So if you want to, do we want to do a Lego Star Wars dies Hellsinger's 10?
I mean, the ranking is going to be a whole fucking other conversation to have. I'm not sure we should try and do that.
I'm not passionate about Ollie Ollie World being here, and I can't. Like, I appreciate your position, but I'm not like. Ooh.
I much preferred the sit sleep argument than the Ollie Ollie World argument, but it feels like if it feels like Ooh gets in and it's kind of like a.
But we've also all played that game. None of us have fucking know what Midnight Suns is like, so like it's hard to say like what our mutual games of the year are when it's just like what Jordan likes, and we just have to kind of go but that's also kind of a part of what this conversation's about, is on arguments over things like that.
It's true. It's a shame with Midnight Suns because I'm really excited to play it, and I think it looks really good.
Well, that's another element of it, is if you really think you would like it, that's another thing. 'Cause I mean, like, it's kind of like Forgotten City last year, where we were like, listen, we may not have gotten into the deep thing, but like it should be. We kind of think it deserves a spot on the list.
Yeah, like I've absorbed a lot around it. Like I've checked out fucking gameplay, and I've read reviews, and I've absorbed the vibe. I just haven't had a chance.
Sorry. Neon White's in this list twice, by the way.
What's happened there then?
Wait, what?
Neon White's twice.
Does that mean we just have a list and we're not trying to cut?
Are we just chatting shit? Have we just got a list?
No, we've got more than 10.
Cut Neon White. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we've got one to cut.
Got one to cut. Fucking hell. Yeah, like it's Ollie Ollie World is a tough one because I feel like there isn't a passion there, and like there's not negatives there, but there's not positives. But like,
because we all liked Metal Hellsinger, right? Like,
I guess there's more also to say about Star Wars that you can like argue is an impressive thing, like scope wise and what it does.
I also think Star Wars is significant for when you put it in the context of the rest of the Lego games and the rest of Star Wars games generally, and the whole element of kind of reverence for like to unite fandom that all hate each other for different reasons behind a game that everyone's just like, yeah, it's got prequel stuff, yeah, it's got sequel stuff, yeah, it's got OT stuff, and we're all kind of like, it is a Star Wars celebration, TM.
Yeah. Hear me out. Take away Ollie Ollie World, but sub back in Case of the Golden Idol. Rehab the conversation.
It's dead, I'm afraid. It's in the bin.
I had a pretty good argument for that game compared to the Ollie Ollie World, but you guys haven't played it.
Here's some behind the scenes strategy. I didn't touch that because I thought that was going to be a screamer later on. Like I was surprised the swiftness with which that left this mortal coil. Take Ollie Ollie World off. Bring back Golden Idol and Warzone 2, right?
We just keep adding more on. I like this list. I'll take Ollie Ollie World off. Let's do it. I'll do it myself.
Move. It's a worthy sacrifice.
Ollie Ollie World.
Smash cut to fucking 3 hours from now, where it's like, I killed him. I killed Ollie Ollie World.
I mean, one of you guys killed off one of the Pokemon, which I'm happy for. If there was 2 Pokemons on this list, there's no fucking chance I'm letting go of Ollie Ollie World. But
okay, with 2 hours and 45 minutes on the recording, 5 o'clock GMT. Is it still GMT? BST? I don't know.
GMT.
Our list is in no
order.
Particular order. In order. Pokemon Legends Arceus, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Citizen Sleeper, Neon White, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Forbidden West. That was I fucking love doing this. It's so much fun doing this. I wish there was a list of 50 games more frequently than once a year to do this with.
Let's do movies.
Oh yeah, what films have I seen this year?
Matilda.
Yeah,
I knew that's what you were gonna fucking say. The one musical that came out. That's squared away.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a break, and then when we return, we will number this list from 10 to 1, crowning the second ever Overlode Game of the Year. Welcome back. How were those few seconds for all of us here?
It was good.
Sped by.
I had some food.
Yeah.
I've got something I kind of want to throw in there as a little wild card for us to.
Oh, okay.
Not a game.
Okay.
Not a game.
Okay.
I want everyone to write down privately what they think the top 5 is going to be.
That's fucking mental.
Did you have the exact same idea as me?
Idea, but with the 10, but yeah, the 5 makes more
5
sense.
I think would be manageable, because 10's a lot of work, but
yeah.
The top, not the one you want, the one you think is going to be happening at the end of this recording session.
Okay. Welcome back. We have whittled down 48 games to 10. Those 10 games in no particular order are Pokemon Legends Arceus, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Citizen Sleeper, Neon White, Vampire Survivors, Metal Hellsinger, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Forbidden West. I'm going to take up Harry's challenge at the moment. Okay, I think I've got it.
Oh, you want us to do it? All right. Okay.
Yeah, as a wee internal bet.
Right. Let me
that, and then I'm gonna put that, and then maybe throw in one of these.
Okay. How to approach this? I think that Lego Star Wars and Metal Hellsinger are battling it out for 9 and 10.
I agree with that. Hang on, I'm just writing this list down.
Yeah, I think we can probably put things into like area of quadrants. Like we can put things into top, middle, and
okay.
bottom.
I am moving Elden Ring and God of War to the bottom.
Yeah, mid tier to be fair.
Yeah, mid. I am putting.
Keep him guessing.
I think Hell and. What if we just I'm going to. Number 10 Lego, number 9 Hellsinger. Does anyone argue with that?
Yeah.
I think that works.
Yeah. We can always do passes, but yeah.
Yeah. 10 Lego Swabba. 9 Hellsinger.
Love that. Good, strong ranking.
We've got to start establishing where these games are going to go.
At least for our baseline.
Now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God, here we go.
Here we go. Vamp at 8?
I think.
What's the vibe on Forbidden West? Because I'm a noted. I think Horizon is mid.
Clone.
Yeah, and I think Forbidden West was cool, but I don't think there was anything wild about it.
How much did you play of it, Harry?
Loads. I mean, I've got like 2/3 into the game. I'm not at the Forbidden West yet. I got from the east to the desert bit, and I'm about to get to like the fucking watery bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite there yet, but I've loved that game. What I've played.
Yeah, I really like that game too. I'm not sure I don't think there's the votes to get that this far down at this point.
I think it's Vamp and Midnight Suns that are honestly on just because of not about Midnight Suns out of bad game, but because it's hard to fight for.
I kind of agree that it's potentially Vamp 8, Midnight Suns 7. What do you think, Danny?
You want to fight for Vamp more?
I don't want to fight for Vamp more. I thought we'd be fighting for Midnight Suns more, to be honest.
I just don't know if it has the.
I think Jordan might like a lot of these other games more.
Again, this can be reordered. Yeah. Like we might be arguing the top 3, and then someone goes, "See 6 and 5. What would we swap?"
Case of Golden Idol. Let's bring that. Put that somewhere. Let's put
Slime Ratchet 2, 8. Anyone?
Let's put that. Yeah, let's put that there. Let's put fucking Vamp and Midnight Suns there. Then I think you can go Forbidden West. And then I
like this. We're getting a baseline.
And then you've got a top 5.
Forbidden West. Okay.
Oh, right.
The current tentative list. Number 10, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Number 9, Metal Hellsinger. Number 8, Vampire Survivors. Number 7, Marvel's Midnight Suns. Number 6, Horizon Forbidden West, leaving us with Neon White, Citizen Sleeper, Pokemon Legends Arceus, God of War, and Elden Ring.
Right.
I mean, having Neon White and Citizen Sleeper in the top 5 is already fucking massive.
Where they should be.
I didn't think they'd both get into the top 10. They're in the top 5.
I fucking love Neon White. There was momentum behind Big Neon.
We've not even talked about it. We've not
great.
said anything about Neon White. We should lay this down. Explain why it's here.
There's 3 games here that we haven't talked about at all. This podcast, and they're top 3 material.
Okay.
I mean, Elden Ring and God of War, like every cunt's been talking about those all year, but Neon White is a slide for us, I think.
Neon White's a cool fucking game. I was just playing it on the break. I played 2 games. I played Neon White, and I played the level rush mode that you unlock when you beat the game in Neon White, where they just give you every fucking level on shuffle. I was like, just like here's a fucking blitz on what that game's like, and that game is fucking sick.
I think 5 and 4 are Pokemon and Citizen, but I don't know what the battle is.
I think you're right.
That's rough because we both have batted really hard for Citizen Sleeper, and Jordan's only batted for Arceus.
Yeah, you've got 2 on Citizen Sleeper. You've got 2 on Citizen Sleeper. You've got like not a lot of. You've got Danny swinging at some with like real points at Arceus, but why they didn't like that game. But some also really great points in Jordan about why that game's great.
I think, like, based on the battle, I think it is probably Pokemon then Citizen, as in 5-4. I would accept that as a.
Let's put it down.
Because yeah.
Technically, let's put it down.
Nothing's set in stone. See the people that are etching this in stone right now. Stop.
Fucking chisels down.
Citizen 1, fucking JJM1. Look at this list. Where's all your pish?
Open Legend Arceus.
Okay. Citizen Sleeper. Now,
Danny, do we even like Elden Ring that much? It's a bit fucking.
That's a conversation to have 3 hours into the podcast, isn't it?
Let's get into it. Let's get into Elden Ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Elden. Let's talk about how good Elden Ring is for a bit.
It's the fucking game of the generation. Like it's barely started and it's the game of the fucking generation. Elden Ring is like, I often talk about how, like, if you could do objective game reviews, GTA 5 would be objectively the most game. And I think because of the level of graphics, the level of writing, the level of shit you can do in it, all that stuff, the way it innovated when it came out, I think Elden Ring is like the next in that lineage. To take a genre that is so fucking boring, that being the open world game, and to just be like, see these action games that we defined for a generation, we're going to make an open world game, and it's like the best open world game ever made. Like it's how much have you played it? Because I've fucking finished it and. In my pursuit of happiness.
Really not enough. I mean, I feel like I'm at like the 3rd main area, whatever the fuck that is. But I've also explored loads of the map that I shouldn't be at, according to the logistics of Elden Ring, because that's just what you fucking do. But I've like explored quite a fair bit on my travels. I've gone through the academy. I'm at like the Carrion Manor.
Have you found the cunts with the big heads? The magician.
Yeah. I'm actually at those. I'm at those big kids now. Yeah, those are annoying. But I think what impressed me about Elden Ring is just there is an assumption in open world games that there's things that you go to and things to fill the space, and then the rest is sort of just empty, and you sort of travel around that. It's like it's like wide open fields and things that look quite pretty. Elden Ring's like, fuck you. There's everything everywhere. All at once. Good movie.
All at once. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Movie of the year.
I think the reason I didn't play much Elden Ring is because I get bored of Souls-likes. Like the.
Is it because you're shit at the combat?
That's the reason why I like Elden Ring quite a lot. I mean, because like it's everyone says how fucking mentally hard Elden Ring is, and it is. But also, it's very forgiving in how it's changed some of its mechanical stuff compared to other games. Like, for example, like the fact that there's more, it just feels more freeing. The fact that you can move more, you can fucking jump.
You got an horse. You got a bloody horse.
Also that you can like you refill your flask when you come back to a rest point. Was that there before?
Yeah, that's how it's worked. If you get to a rest point, you get to a rest point, you fill your flasks, but the enemies return.
But the main thing is like, yeah, you can go away and you can stack up and level up in other areas and like find a random hole in the wall, which leads to like a whole fucking dungeon of things, which then leads to another thing. And if you roll through this wall and then roll through another wall, did we all see that same TikTok clip? Because like, I don't know if you've seen it, Danny, but like, it blew my mind because I'm gonna admit something. I've always thought that the trick walls were just a troll and none of them were real. Because every time I see the message, it's like fake wall, roll through it. I'm like, and then because maybe I think it's because the first time I did it and it wasn't a real wall, and I was like, haha, very funny. So now, like in Bloodborne and when I play through Elden Ring, every time I walk up to it, I'm like, oh, fake wall, roll through. I'm like, haha, won't get me, and I've missed like a whole section of the map and like a bunch of fucking treasure because I refuse to look foolish to nobody. It's not like anyone's going to see me do this, but I refuse to roll that wall. Anyway, I'm getting off of a fucking tangent.
Have your tangent.
There's so much to go and explore, but like it is very aimless. Like, you know, like when I went back into it today, having not played it in months, like there's absolutely fucking no way to dig in what you were doing, especially when it comes to like if there's NPC
That's not
stuff.
True.
Like
it literally tells you where to go.
It tells you like roughly the direction you're going, but not like what you were doing. Like, if there's anything you want to try and track.
But
like,
if you follow the direction of the light,
yeah,
you will get to the. Like, I think that's actually one of the things that
cool.
it greatly improves on upon like previous Souls games. Like, it tells you where the critical path is and invites you to go and do other things.
In the macro, but in the micro, you're still like doing a lot of fucking walkthroughs and guides and looking up stuff to figure out like where things are, or if like there's like a random character that wants you to do a thing. Like, good luck knowing what to do with that.
I really didn't find that the case, and I literally did not have the option to do a walkthrough or anything like that. And I thought that the way that the only thing that I think it could actually take from other open world games is a bit more in your journal about like side characters you've talked to, and not even like a quest indicator or anything, just be like the last time you spoke to them they wanted you to do X. But that is like that is some of it took all the stuff from open world games that are terrible and pure rot about them, and actually some of the ways that like recontextualized Forbidden West for me is not as good, and made it be like, you don't actually need any of this. Like, if the gameplay is good enough, that the game will hang on that. And also, like, it's not been spoken about yet, but the fucking art in that game and the fucking design of the world is just ridiculous. Like,
I was going to come in swinging for that because I played maybe like 10-12 hours of Elden Ring because I'm historically not a fan of those games. I don't like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro, and I don't really play like single player games on a harder difficulty because I'm there to just blast through them. So I really didn't get on with Elden Ring, but I watched Jack play through the whole thing, and the fucking design and the bosses are just phenomenal. Like, they're incredible. Like, I was fucking gutted that I couldn't like get to grips with actually playing it, because watching it was like, it's a fucking marvel of design.
I honestly think that is kind of the thing that the George R. R. Martin thing kind of brings to it, because it brings a kind of pretty fantasy to the world that wasn't really there for Souls. Like, I think they're very pretty games, but they're very fucking depressing, dismal, fucking dark, foggy castles. Or in Bloodborne's case, a very gothic, blood drippy fucking carrion like
very
thing.
Wet.
Which
the wettest game you've
whereas
ever
Elden
seen.
Ring, it's like it's beautiful landscapes and environments to ride a wee fucking horse around. I like riding a horse around.
Yeah. And then you'll turn up at some area with a bunch of Dutch windmills and all these freaks are going like, yeah, just dancing like.
Yeah.
I don't get how they've made that game, how they've went from Dark Souls to now producing like 6 games in a row. Elden Ring looks like a game that should have taken like 15 years. Like, it's fucking, it's an absurd kind of achievement, and the bosses are the best they've ever been. They are like so there's all the secret bosses, as in the case on all these games, and some of them, like, you go into this basically MC Escher world where there's hundreds of like whirlwinds and shit like that, and you go down this wee path and there's like a graveyard for dragons, and you lie in one of the graves and one of the dragons fucking bursts alive and you have to fight this like 500-foot tall fucking skeleton dragon. So that's your fucking Miyazaki for you. The cunt's off, he's not. So yeah, it's very hard to poke holes in Elden Ring for me. I know people on PC had like performance problems at the start, but I never like. I played on PS5 and I never really had an issue with it. Like Elden Ring is
fine for me.
It's fucking sick. We've got to the point where we're talking about very good. Pardon me.
It's very hard to poke holes in this game.
We're talking about very good games.
It's so much fun to fucking explore all the different stuff, especially with the horse that you can double jump around. Like it just feels like you're kind of invited to mess around and to go around weird ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is the thing I really like about games. And one of the reasons I like Neon White is also a game that invites you to kind of fuck around and try different things. Everything is just impossibly deep, and maybe that was just fucking too overwhelming for me to like play, because like it's like, oh, you can go anywhere and everything has everything, and it's like, okay,
there's probably 10 bosses in every direction.
I had
there's one boss where you go out to the desert, like in the bottom right hand corner of the map, and then you spirit summon like 15 guys, and it becomes this big raid battle against this massive boss that's on a tiny horse. Like the boss is a billion foot tall, but he's on like a human-sized horse, and he fucking shoots meteors out the sky at you. And I'm just fucking playing it. The first time I played this, I was like, "What is going on?" And it's fucking full of that shit, man. It's such a crazy game to play Elden Ring for the first time again. What a treat that would be.
Like,
but knowing them, they've probably got Elden Ring 2 ready in 3 years' time. They're like, "Yep, another one off the block. Go ahead."
There's just like there is a weird like impossibility to how it's made. It's like there's one thing where like the developers of that game do seem like odd, like bizarre entities, especially in the way that fucking Miyazaki stuff is like all that stuff's written and how it's designed. Like it's just the most bizarre like. What are you understand that I don't like? What's going through your head to make this stuff?
He's taken that pill from Limitless.
He's unlocked like fucking 100 fucking things. And yeah, I don't know. Fucking Elden Ring's good.
So Curse of the Golden Idol.
Case of the Golden Idol. It's not Curse of the Golden Idol.
Curse of the Billy Idol.
Got something I want to say to the group.
Okay.
Right.
So
what?
When you all said, get some snacks and drinks for the podcast, I forgot to. And I was like, but I've got some snacks in the flat, I'm sure. I do. But the only option I had is Pringles. So
great.
So that's gonna be my food of choice for the next fucking 10 minutes before we lock this in.
Neon White, God of War, Elden Ring.
Neon White, Elden Ring, God of War.
The trio.
I hate to say it, but Elden Ring is fucking a ball hair. I think Elden Ring's better than God of War. A ball hair.
And if it's a ball hair, and if you think it's a ball hair for you, and it's a group list, we're all gonna like God of War more. Am I wrong, Danny?
Right, so Neon White's in third, right?
I think because the story's annoying. like the people are annoying, and there's nothing we can really poke in Elden Ring and God of War. And I think Neon White's fucking brilliant. I think it's absolutely incredible. It's like, it's flashy when you get into that flow state, when you get all the mechanics, when...
It would just be a better game if it was like wireframed and didn't have any of these annoying fucking characters.
I think it looks amazing, like this fucking weird like high-tech hacker heaven core thing they've got going on. It looks so cool. It has this UI that like something you draw for like a fun student project. It's like, this is actually what it fucking looks like. It looks mental, but and I don't think the story's like terrible. I think the actual story itself is perfectly fine to go along to, but I think the tone of how these anime lads talk is a little bit much, and talking about fucking simping over and over all sort, and it's tough.
It's a fucking miracle. I like that game.
I know it's tough.
I genuinely think that this is a list where it's like 3 to 10 are one tier, and then 1 and 2 are at the fucking super heavyweight title fight away in the fucking different galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2. I feel like that was like the God of War Red Dead Redemption 2 thing.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Neon White was great because, like, of that, I can't remember a time where a game has turned my entire, like, social circle just fucking feral. Like, that month we had of just trying to batter each other's scores on Steam.
You guys are so lucky I didn't play it then. You wouldn't have had a fucking conversation. I've got an ace medal in every single level in that game, and like a red medal that fucking blasts past the ace medal that they don't tell you about, and like loads of them other ones.
Oh, disgusting. Yeah, it was fucking great, that whole period. And I can't think of a game that's actually like done that for ages. The competitive fucking
there's like there's
brain
a second
worm.
half to every level of Neon White. It's like you've got a very fun race to try and kill all the demons and get to the goal, which can be challenging by itself in a lot, especially late game. Like you can die quite easily, but to have like to figure out, okay, what's the trick here? It's like, oh, I can actually like duck under this whole building and get like skip half the level by doing this. Especially the levels when like there's the levels where you don't need to kill any of the demons, like you just can skip past.
Those are the best for me. Like I also love the ones that you launch off a building, do like a fucking quick COD 360 no scope to catch one of them on a perfect frame, and then you keep going. Like that stuff is really satisfying. Yeah, Neon White is an absolutely tremendous game. Like it's also a very good Steam Deck game. But it's a good Steam Deck game if you're willing to get like the platinum medals. But if you're competing with,
if you want the best,
versions,
you gotta get out the mouse and keyboard. You gotta get the fucking flicks, the good stuff,
the wrist action. But yeah, love Neon White. What a good game.
Do we have a problem with like
fucking
10 to 4? Genuinely,
no.
Like have we done that?
Yeah, I think it's. I always predicted that. I thought that the 10 would be a bit easier than the like fucking 50 to 10.
Bizarrely, from like 7 to 10, I couldn't really give a fuck about these games. Partly because I have played half of them, the other half I'm like, not too into. So it's not like I've got like a horse in the fight there. Forbidden West, I think it's cool. I'm glad I'm repping for it because I love that game. But like, doesn't do anything as interesting as the ones above it. Sleeps above Arceus, which means it's a fucking dub for Harry Mitchell. Jordan Middler's in the fucking mud.
You got so many fucking games killed in that list.
Yes,
that's
my plan all along. I couldn't give a fuck about those games. Tunic, it was shite, man.
we fox. It's a wee fox.
It's boring.
He jumps through the world.
All the Ollie world, that was a fucking ruse. That game's like so fucking mid. I was.
Alright, tell that to the fucking teals that were ejaculating out your face when that got killed.
Quite ear,
it's a super heavyweight title fight. Here's the things that I think let God of War down, which I think is possibly the best PlayStation game ever. And this is something that I didn't notice until someone pointed it out, but once they pointed it out, I couldn't not notice it. There are the bones of this being a PS4 game all over that game. Like the limited scope of the actual areas you're playing in, the amount of times you have to go like through a wall, the stuff that would separate it from, because the entire thing about PS5 is massive levels, all that shit. That stuff is a shame that it's not there. That being said, it's probably the fucking best looking game ever made. Like it is.
I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I think that those PS4 things actually assist what God of War does, which uniquely is a very tight game. It's trying to keep you on a level. It lets you expand, lets you grow up, but like it doesn't want you to be fucking running around doing like it kind of wants you on a track, which can be a downfall for it, especially when it's like, hey, you seen that bucket up there? You got to fucking knock that down, lad. And it's like, fuck me, Mimir. let me get to it, because they want to keep you moving through like a bit of a train.
Yeah, but I don't think this is that though. I think this is very much technical limitations because like there's nowhere else to go. I am going forward. I'm on the side of a cliff, but because the next area hasn't loaded, I have to like go my way around the side. And plus, it already flirts with big levels, like the big open sand area, which doesn't really have much in it apart from a few of those fucking crows. I'm so glad I got all of them. And obviously the fucking Lake of Nine stuff. Like I think there is moments in this where it's very obvious that they had to be like, so when you're climbing up the side of the kind of red sandstone area with Tyr, so much of that is the worst part of that game, which is the fucking uncharted climbing of I'm not really doing anything
just sort of
here, I'm just going
things.
up the way. Yeah, and that is pure like memory usage. That's pure like, right, this next area, which is a big area with the angels or whatever, has to load in, and it could happen instantly on the PS5, but we can't because we're doing it on PS4. Like, as I said, my fucking review of this game could not be more glowing. Pardon me. But like, if we're going between,
if we're going the nitty-gritty, I understand. Yeah,
and I said this when we were talking about the VGC game of the year, I think it is, whichever way you do this, is 1 and 1A. Like, it's fucking, there's like an nth of a percent between the two. But my 2 cents is that what Elden Ring kind of represents as a perfection of the defining genre of the last 10 years, which is the Souls games, and kind of the populist genre of open world games, making the best one of those ever. It's like that's significant in a way that kind of transcends what is an amazing game with some minor setbacks. Saying that, fucking story in God of War is so good.
See, this is my point. This is my point.
Yeah.
Because you're saying about how it has limitations because it's playing for PS4s.
Tiny.
No, but you're right.
Limit.
That is a limitation. But what better can we give a game using what they use with the limitations and how they counteract it? And what they use with that is cool. That means we have to have downtime where the characters are moving through boring environments. Let's make one of the best fucking written stories ever made. So every time you're listening to the characters talk, you're craning in and you want to hear the interaction between these characters. And those times where Kratos and Atreus are climbing together, or it's with Freya, or it's with whoever, like, you're like, it becomes, you shut off because you're listening to how much they flesh out these characters, and every little inflection or kind of poke or kind of like maybe small joke is like so grabbing in a way that, Elden Ring doesn't have that. I think Elden Ring has the mechanical and has the scope and has the gameplay win, but like a lot of the reason that people enjoy things most is when they have an emotional attachment and when they have a story attachment to it. And I think God of War swings that every single passage. When you're involved in what you're doing, when you feel gripped in what you're doing, when you feel like you are the character or you're protecting the character and that this moment means something, I think that resonates stronger than an Elden Ring, which, like, I think the moments are incredible because they're just incredible by themselves, but in God of War they're incredible for a reason, for like a story reason as well.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it there, and I was like, oh yeah. If I won't tell people to listen to this because they should really listen to it in context. But Harry, have you got to when it's all about to happen, when you're about to have the last big battle?
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting there.
There is the best the best musical track in any game ever. Like, it is the fucking end of Endgame with everyone coming in, levels of fucking hype. Bear McCreary just went fucking crazy on it.
We've got to say that context. Me and Danny have not finished the game, God of War. Like, I've been playing. The reason I've dropped a lot of homework for Game of the Year this year because I've been just chugging along playing Ragnarok. That game's fucking big, and I think me and Danny talked about it, and we came to the same conclusion, which is like I've been not finishing it because I've been playing like a lot of the side stuff that's like just as good as the main stuff. Like,
brilliant.
All this, like, I'll try a side mission. It becomes like one of the most incredible quests I've ever been on in my fucking life.
It's like like Witcher 3 tier. Like, you think you're doing one thing and then you've spent 6 hours doing something completely different.
And like all the quest stuff, you still get like moments where you get inflection of the character. Like very early game, one of the first things you go to is like one of the side things is fucking helping Mimir like free this creature that the previous self like trapped, dealing with his like guilt about his past and whether you deal with your mistakes and all this stuff. And it's like, again, like that narrative is clung to everything, and that is like the absolute, which is why the fucking Eric Williams, I think, directed the fuck out of this game. And why the writing is such a key to it. But like, back to my point, we played so much of the side stuff, and me and Danny went, we could finish this if we powered through just the main quest stuff, maybe load of difficulty options to just blast through it. But I think that would just kind of wreck our own quest of how we move through this game. Like, I feel like, you know, Kratos and Atreus going on those side quests to kind of bond a little bit more and do all those things is so good. So that's unfortunate.
I think.
Danny, go ahead.
This is a really fucking rough one, because I'm 100% with you. I'm in God of War for the story and for the character development and for the narrative more than the gameplay, which is how I play games anyway. And I think the combat is absolutely fantastic by itself, but it's the story that we're kind of there for. But one thing that really swayed my kind of thought on how to assess what a sequel is doing was from playing Last of Us 1 and 2 earlier in the year, and I started to think about how the jump from 1 to 2 compares to the jump between God of War and Ragnarok, and that kind of like diminished it a little bit for me, because you're still very much in the same kind of worlds and doing the same kind of stuff, and there's obviously new story beats and new characters and stuff, but I don't think it makes the jump in the way that Last of Us 2 did. And
no, I do agree with that.
That
but
seems like an
to be
unfair
fair,
comparison.
that was...
I feel like there's a lot of time
No,
and like a generation and like a console jump as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there could have been a console jump between these two games, but there isn't. Like, the jump, The Last of Us was like basically the last big game on PS3, and then Last of Us Part 2 was in like 2020. So it was it was a long ass time, and yet I do get that the first couple hours of God of War, and a lot of people have said this to me, they're like, it's slow. I'm in the same areas I was in the first fucking game. Like, what's going on here? And then, or rather, the first little bit, then fucking Thor and Odin turn up, and Odin is like a fucking unbelievable character. Like, he's like fucking George Carlin and Tony Soprano.
I'm honestly giddy for when he gets on screen. His performance and how they did that character is so fucking good.
It was friend of the show, Hamish Black, said Odin and Atreus is like when Bart joins Fat Tony's Mafia. Like, and it's like, that's absolutely perfect. Like, it is, that stuff is brilliant. And also, I don't know how, like, there's bits in the late game where you get to meet like Atreus hangs about with Thor's daughter for a while, and they have like a whole separate fucking side story about how Thor's daughter relates to Thor and the expectations of being part of that big family and stuff like that.
And like having an alcoholic father and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, the big fucking bar fight is like one of the like, fucking amazing sequence. Yeah. Like, Thor is like steaming out his nut and still defending you, just kind of going like that with like random punches and throwing shit across.
But no, like I think it's actually a really fucking good sequel in the terms of like being a sequel and what a sequel means. Like, and like you are returning to, you're getting new areas, you return to areas in a different light, because it's like, we've been here before, we know what we're doing, and we're going like almost backwards sometimes, like, oh yeah, we were here before doing this. It feels like the world's more lived in now. And secondly, I think it's how well the characters work that they've nailed a sequel, because I think Kratos and Atreus' relationship and how they wrote that is generally as important as a motive factor in terms of like, you know, the levels and the mechanics that are added and things like that, because I think it so could have easily just reset back to like Kratos and Atreus, and they're back to just fucking fighting or trying to get a thing, or a new thing comes in and that's with them that they're now having a tension point now. But no, like, they're still tense, but you have earned a love and a respect from the first game, where they are now more open with each other, and they talk to each other and they compliment each other, and like, that feels so fucking good, and that you feel like moving from the first game, you feel like it is like a new type of conversation that they're always having. We have like a new we have this we have new like mechanics, and I think what is important is you do well. We don't want to spoil huge things. You do play as Atreus, which is kind of what we predicted might happen.
Blew my fuck. So peek behind the curtain here. I had the game fucking well early. Sony have been doing this recently, where they send you the game like a month early and say you can preview it after a week and you can review it after 3 weeks. The preview period is the sequence up until you rescue Tyr. Straight after that, you play as Atreus. And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, that is genius. Like, when it was... My favourite moments in games are one, cutscene becomes action.
I know exactly what you're fucking going to say.
So, when it was just fucking Sindri and Atreus, I was like, I fucking getting it. Those two of them here, they always make you go in twos, so you have like an extra character for the combat. Yeah. And then when you started playing as Atreus, I was like, is this just going to be a walking sequence?
The camera just and then when the fucking slowly moves it, and then
I was like, even if this is just a walking sequence, this is fine. Maybe it's just a puzzle sequence. And when it fucking pulls out the bow, and I realized there was slots for multiple fucking upgrades. It's like, you're gonna play as Atreus for fucking ages. There's gonna be loads of Atreus.
Here's the thing, that's cool in itself. What is better and more impressive is that they're just as fun. Like every game that lets you play other characters. Spider-Man, for example, playing as Miles Morales or playing as Mary Jane. These sequences where you get to play like a side character or a thing for story reasons. For many reasons, they're obviously not as good. Like they're often the stealth sequences are often the thing. And Atreus, because he's always been the kind of the weaker one, the one that Kratos is protecting, you expect that he's more vulnerable. But like, no, he's fucking grown up. He's become a badass warrior. And when you play as Atreus, it's so much fun. Like they've added a bunch of mechanics that work just for his bow. It feels like he's proper powerful and has all these fucking magic abilities and shape-shifting and all this sort of stuff. And to have all the sequences with in Asgard just be genuinely as equally as exciting as the ones with Kratos, sometimes more, it's like that's such a fucking feat in itself, man.
It was so good how they did that as well, because when you first move to Atreus and you're doing that bit going to see Freya with Sindri, all you've got really is like the bow, and it feels a little bit weak. Like you're coming off playing Kratos with the axe and the fucking swords and shit being like hyper powerful, and then you're kind of just like a little bit weak, like fucking pinging arrows at people, and then like you start to develop, and then suddenly he can fucking like summon a stag and like charge into cunts and like turn into a fucking wolf and shit. And it's like he's getting these abilities as he's learning about them, and you're playing them as he's learning about them, which I think is a really cool way to do it. They've not just given you him like, oh, he feels a bit shit compared to Kratos. It's like, no, he's like on his own journey that he's learning about, and you're getting to experience his development as you run through and play with him. And I think that was really cool.
Yeah, and you fully...
Because at first I was like, oh, this is a bit shite. I'm just fucking firing arrows and like getting my ass kicked. But then he gets more and more shit, and that was real cool.
Yeah, and like the fact that you understand where every single character is coming from, and when you play it, it feels even more so. Like there's just I don't know, it's so perfectly written and directed for all those things that like it just adds to every element of the game. It just makes it elevated in a certain way.
And one of the collectibles is literally just wee poems that all have to do with other PlayStation exclusives.
Is that true? I fucking did not get it.
So you look for Kvasir's poems, and it'll be like retellings of the stories of Horizon and Bloodborne and Death Stranding.
That's
and
really
these,
cool.
Like, and these poems, and the covers are all like one of them's Astro, one of them's like the logo from Horizon and stuff. Like it's
That's
all fucking
Jordan Midler bait right there.
Oh, it really is. It's fucking that's. Although they did one for fucking Days Gone. I was like, fucking uninstall this game. No, I am fine with that. God of War, on a different day, I'd have been like, oh, I fucking it is God of War. But like, yeah, the God of War is a special game, and considering how it ends, I am very excited to see what comes next. Okay,
This is sorry, I was just going to jump in because I was with you when you were like Elden Ring's a ball hair above God of War. I was like, I could fuck with that because I didn't play a lot of it, but it's just on another fucking
It is
level
on another fucking level.
in its design and its world and its fucking nonsense. Like I loved it like visually so much, but I think in the trio that we've got here,
Oh yeah.
like the literal God of War cast, I think.
Yeah.
We really are the God of War cast. It is fucked up how much we are the God of War cast.
It's insider trading at this point. Like,
Yeah,
boy.
it swings it.
Also, me and Jordan are Sindri and Brock.
yeah.
That's also a good Halloween. You can be that other lassie,
fuck
fucking Linda, whatever her name is, Danny.
I'm not even fucking there.
Use need to finish this fucking game, man. Like, oh my god.
That's the thing. Like, I could have finished it last night, but I would have been just speed running the story,
I honestly
and
don't
it
think
was
you
so
could've.
good. I don't want to speed
You're
run
quite
it.
far away. It would have taken a long fucking time.
Oh, they're
Okay,
getting big.
Do you have
the
a-
list as it currently stands. At number 10, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Number 9's Metal Hellsinger. Number 8's Vampire Survivors. Number 7, Marvel's Midnight Suns. Number 6, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 5, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 4, Citizen Sleeper. Number 3, Neon White. Number 2, Elden Ring. And number 1, God of War Ragnarok.
I want to
Back as well.
find a hole to pick at it, but it's clean. Like it's super clean.
Move Arceus up 2, call it a day.
No. Listen, Act 2 and 3 of Inscription are actually really good when you think about it. Like,
oh yeah. What a game that fucking no one remembers. It's fucking disappeared like a wet fart. Whereas the Returnal Army, the fucking Return of Maniacs are still running wild. We're getting a fucking PC port, baby. Come on.
Let's put Vampire Survivors up. Fucking that game's cool. I played. Nah, I don't even mean it. I don't even mean what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're
I know.
overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
Above Midnight Suns, maybe swap them around.
No. Midnight Suns is better than Vampire Survivors. I think we have Overlode's second ever game of the year. What do we think? Last chances to object.
That felt.
I feel bad
this
for
feels
Elden
like
Ring.
when like
I feel so bad.
this feels insecure when the monkey's head gets fucking chopped off and then suddenly it rises and it's like actually Saints Row #1. It's too easy. There's a trick here somewhere.
What did we bin off that we could bring back?
How about we just talk about
Just been-
the games we haven't talked about yet? Fuck, we have barely talked about why we think Forbidden West is at 6.
Because it's the most sex game.
Yeah, I've got
of the
nothing
year.
to say about it. It's just a really nice fucking action game that looks cool.
It is really nice. It does look cool. It fucking plays cool as well. And
Yeah.
I've just got
Aloy's
nothing
a ride.
groundbreaking
and
to say.
Aloy's a ride. As
Yeah.
Yeah.
put that on the box.
Put that in the
Fucking
box,
shut
sorry.
There was a
Fucking put it in her box. Anyway,
we,
forbidden breasts. What-
Aloy oi.
Yes, Harry.
Can we lock it in and then say what we wrote down for what we thought was going to happen?
Okay.
All right.
Let me get my big fucking comedy lock. Where is it?
Yo,
Mine's
what?
fucking scuffed.
My list of predictions was exactly how it is, but with Elden Ring and God of War swapped.
Mine is exactly as it is, but with Arceus and Citizen Sleeper swapped. But
So
Danny?
I've got God on War. God on War. God on War.
God on War.
God, on
Mine
War.
is God of War, Elden Ring, Midnight Suns, Arceus, and Neon White. I had no
that
faith
bad?
in Citizen Sleeper getting in.
I don't know why.
did.
I don't know why you're determined to sabotage our own games, Danny. Like you think Jordan's a fucking dictator of
I
hatred
do. I'm
that is
fucking
going to
spawned
stampede
by
this podcast.
Ratchet.
Win the
You
psychological
say that, and
war.
like Inscription got fucking third last year. We can do it. You got to believe. We can seize the means of production from Jordan, the
This is the problem,
proletariat,
like, with these-
the bourgeoisie.
with these when I look at the fucking lists, I just think like, how are they going to fuck me with one of these shit games that they're going to slide up the list? Zero graphics, a billion words, like nothing to do with actual games.
Let's go look
but-
at the list again. What was the previous list? Let's see if
I mean, it's been deleted.
I'm going on the other
one. Okay.
Uh,
Anything that's it's in dire need of
Ollie
being
Ollie
brought
World's
back
so
into
much fucking better than
consideration.
the bottom 3 of these things, but
I think we need to bring back Sifu. I don't think we were completely fair on Sifu.
Oh yeah, Power Wash Simulator, can that get brought back in the mix?
fuck me.
Unfortunately, the rules of this game mean that once we have transitioned out of the mega list, that is it. Although I think our list is very good.
We fucking patched Callisto. It just didn't even make it in.
I got it installed. Can't be ours.
Shite.
So did I. Chris String gave it 3
Signalis,
stars.
that's a good fucking game.
Yes. Shout out Chris String.
So does anyone have any
okay.
honourable mentions for games that they played and enjoyed this year but were not on the list?
Dan, Harry, we'll just go.
I think Danny's got a
on
few.
you go.
With fucking Slime Rancher 2, you know? Destiny 2.
No, I'm saying we'll just leave her alone and let her fucking talk about Destiny for an hour and a half. Like,
it's not a 2022 game though, is it? Actually, Witch Queen was.
Yeah.
yeah.
If my
Oh,
camera's
God,
fucking feeding me out.
if we allowed like fucking content updates and
And
shit, like
remakes
what's happening
and-
to Danny here? She's
It's
fucking
just gone.
yeah. The Last of Us Part 1 law is in effect. But yeah, for the folks at home, Overlode's top 10 games of the year list is number 10, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, number 9, Metal Hellsinger, number 8, Vampire Survivors, number 7, Marvel's Midnight Suns, number 6, Horizon Forbidden West, number 5, Pokemon Legends Arceus, number 4, Citizen Sleeper, number 3, Neon White, number 2, Elden Ring, and Overlode's second ever game of the year, God of War
Kind of the
Ragnarok.
boring option.
2 fucking indies in the top 5. Fucking above Pokemon. Get fucked.
Gone soft.
Fucked in the Arceus.
You talking to me? How have I gone soft, man? A big fucking PlayStation Baldi game one. I won out.
Yeah.
I play both sides, so I always come out on
Exactly.
top.
Jordan
I
knows
mean-
there's no. He's like, I let these fuckers in. Man, I still the top 2
I mean,
slots
look
are
at this
just
fucking list. Lego in this list, I got Lego Star
Fucking
Wars,
mid,
Vamp,
man.
Midnight, Forbidden West, Arceus, fucking Elden and God of War. Like I'm fucking. The fucking tiny indie infection is fine, especially because I like one of them. Like,
Jordan is winning the majority, I think here.
I don't think they're just Jordan's games though. I mean, we fucking batted for a lot.
I developed them. Thank you very much.
Jordan Midler's
I am-
Elden Ring.
I am Johnny Games. No one wants to look at my Elden Ring, especially after that fucking chips, cheese, and kebab meat.
Jesus Christ, man.
Feel like a fucking bust football.
S-
Anyway,
fucking needs a sausage supreme.
certainly does. Oi oi. Thank you for joining us for this this wonderful debate. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas period. What do you two have planned for Christmas?
Editing this
Witcher
podcast.
3 and chicken.
Witcher 3 and chicken. Harry?
Editing this podcast and just fucking.
Just put it out raw.
Oh right.
At least,
I was talking about the chicken. I was like,
oh yeah, put it. Aye,
eat it.
I like my chicken
A lot
rare.
of I mean, I think the podcast will be edited, and I think that if you're watching this on video on YouTube, God bless you. This is probably fucking chaos. Yeah, this is lots of fun. I hope to enjoy. Do you want to add any final notes for Overload in 2023? We'll see you in the
Stay
we'll
tuned.
see you in the new year, folks, for more shenanigans, more good stuff, exciting times.
More video games. There's a lot of big games
Banger
out next year.
year.
I don't know if you've known.
Yeah.
There's fucking loads of them.
The game of the year
And-
2023 is gonna
and-
fucking suck.
For folks that are still listening, I'll give you something, right? Conversations have been had. It was on and then it was off, but it looks like it's back on. And I've not told Harry or Danny this yet, so I want their live reaction. I'm reviewing Tears of the Kingdom.
No fucking way! No way! Are you kidding? They let you. Did you pay them?
Nope.
That's how you know you're a reviewer worth your salt. A fucking unbiased king.
Now imagine how good if that game gets a 5, it might as well be a fucking 90-star game at that point.
Mate,
That's going to be something to...
that's gonna...
Things might change, but as of right at this moment, that was the last conversation that was
A
had.
community in mourning
because of
after
my
Jordan
ability.
Midler found dead after giving a 4-star review on VGC.news. Fucking, that's gonna be nuts, man. I can't wait for that.
Tales of the Zelda fan.
I forgot that was coming out. I'm thinking like Starfield, Hogleg, Star Wars, and then I fucking forgot about Tears of the Kingdom. That's gonna be our first punt of a Zelda game in the Game of the Year fight.
Power Sim 2, lads.
Okay, folks.
Yeah.
Power Sim 2.
Please.
You can find me on Twitter at Jordan Midler. Harry,
You can follow me at Harry is late.
Danny,
You can follow me at Danielle Partis and at a new job in 2023 that I can't actually leak on this podcast yet.
yeah.
No longer with GI.
I'll give you a clue, right?
Specsavers.
She's going to work for Dettol.
I just needed this.
That's funny because I live like 10 minutes away from the fucking Dettol factory,
She does.
so it's believable.
Dettol.
Dettol.
Okay, thanks for joining us, folks. We will see you in the new year. And apologies to the Discord lot who thought we were going to put fucking Stray in it.
Fucking cats are fucking wank, man. Grow up, mate.
I'm going to go and kick Kenobi down.